Welcome to Coors Field. 6:30 is upon us. We are closing in on the first pitch between the Rockies and the Phillies as these two open a three-game series. The Rockies coming off a 10-day, 9-day road trip. Happy to be back home at the corner of 20th and Blake. Take a look at the starting pitchers for tonight's ball game. It'll be Cole Hamels going up against Jhoulys Chacin. Each of these pitchers have seen the other team so far this season, and each of them have pitched very well. Right now, let's bring in Jeff Hewson, who will be calling the game along with Drew Goodman and George Frazier tonight. And Jeff, let's talk about this pitching matchup because it could be a pitcher's duel tonight.
Well, almost like what we saw back in Philadelphia earlier this year with Cole Hamels going in the first game, winning that game, and then Jhoulys winning the second game. For the Rockies going up against Cole Hamels, they have had some success against him in the past. I know he has the win, but including postseason, they are 3-1 against Cole Hamels, and they've actually hit him to a tune of almost 350. But they're going to have to face a guy tonight that has utilized a cutter more than he has the big overhand curveball to go along with the good changeup, so it's not going to be an easy task. Now, Jhoulys on the other side is looking for a win. He had a good outing in his last start against the Dodgers. Only 1 earned run, 6 innings. Got back to not walking guys. That is what really hurt him earlier in his starts. As I mentioned, 0-4 in his last 8 starts. But he has controlled the Philadelphia Phillies with the good slider and the good changeup. So that is really pleasing for Jim Tracy and Bob Apodaca going into this game. But these two guys going into tonight have 2 of the 3 lowest batting averages against. So there's not going to be a whole lot of guys racing to the bat rack tonight.
Absolutely not. All right, thank you, Jeff. We appreciate it. We'll see you in a few minutes for the start of the ball game. We're going to take a break here from Coors Field. When we come back, we'll get you upstairs with Drew Goodman and George Frazier as they talk about new Philly Hunter Pence.
The newest Philadelphia Philly, Hunter Pence. This will be game 3 in a Phillies uniform for the former Houston Astro, as the Rockies get ready to take on the Phils, first of 3 here at Coors Field. And welcome upstairs, along with my partner George Frazier. I'm Drew Goodman. What a get for the Philadelphia Phillies. And you know, they lost Jason Worth, George, in the offseason. Now they get another right fielder who does a lot of the same things.
Well, and a guy they're going to have for about 3 years, too. That's the difference. He can't be a free agent until then, so that's a positive for them. But when you take a look at the numbers and you say, all right, we're trying to replace Worth as our power guy, our guy that hits fifth in the lineup. If you look at the numbers, Hunter Pence has been pretty comparable in the same type of ballpark. Both ballparks in Houston and Philly play about the same. Well, you see the number, big number for me is the RBIs with 77 more over the same time frame of what we're looking at from Jason Worth. This is a huge, huge plus for their ball club.
Well, he's known. He's a high-energy guy. He runs the bases well. He plays with that chip on his shoulder,
well,
George.
And it's nice to watch. I mean, you just see the attitude he had when we're shooting him as he's walking in. It goes, okay, enough's enough, all right? I'm a ball player. Leave me alone.
Yeah.
You know, and that's
Game
kind of
time.
the attitude he takes. Yeah, it's game time. He's ready to play baseball. And I think if they needed something else, which I'm not sure they did, but if they needed something else, I guess it's a great ad.
It's a pretty frightening lineup, and it's a pretty frightening pitching staff. Maybe that's why they have the best record in the National League. Rockies and the Phils. Come on back to Coors Field with us. On Root Sports is brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. By the Ford Fusion, with quality, power, and economy, we speak value. Ford Fusion, drive one. By Quest. Quest is becoming CenturyLink. Your link begins here. Find out more at CenturyLink.com/link. By Jack in the Box. Jack's really big chicken sandwich combo is back for only $3.99 plus tax at participating restaurants. And by Southwest Airlines, new Rapid Rewards, unlimited reward seats, and no blackout dates. Rockies spent the last 10 days on the road. They went 4-5 on that Western swing. And they're back at Coors Field, 3 against the fighting Phils, and then the Washington Nationals are in Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. That, of course, is the veteran Jimmy Rollins, one of the top shortstops in the game. He'll be at the head of Charlie Manuel's lineup tonight, presented by Southwest.com. Shane Victorino, an all-star again. He'll be in the 2-hole. Chase Utley's back healthy, and he's swinging the bat at 286. Ryan Howard among the league leaders in RBIs. Hunter Pence, as we just discussed, will bat right behind Howard in front of yesterday's star for the Phillies, Raul Ibanez. A couple home runs yesterday for Ibanez. Placido Polanco bat 7th. Carlos Ruiz behind the plate batting 8th. And then left-hander Cole Hamels. And there's a look at Jhoulys Chacín. And George, when he's on, he's awful difficult to hit.
Well, he really is. And at the start of the season, that's exactly what he was. 8-4, 271 earned run average. The difficulty started after June 21st. In his last 6 starts, 0-4, 582 earned run average, and it all goes back to the control of the fastball, command of the fastball in the zone.
And a swinging bunt. Chacín has it on the backhand, and will lob to Ty Wigginton at first. And Jimmy Rollins is retired. Now, in his last outing, he threw the ball very well against the Dodgers.
Yeah, he absolutely did. Home sweet home, though. 12 start at Coors Field, where he's 4-3, a very low earned run average, and the opposition hitting below 200 here at Coors Field. That is a tremendous number for Chacín.
Well, they have 2 catalysts at the top of their lineup. Jimmy Rollins and this guy, Shane Victorino. Both are switch hitters. Both run really well. Both are good hitters. And Huey, what a luxury.
Yeah, when it's really nice, though, when you've got 2 switch hitters, so it makes it difficult as an opposing manager how to throw to these guys. You bring in the righty later on in the game or the lefty?
Well, the stolen bases at the top of the order, 39 stolen bases. They've only been caught 8 times, so it gives you the threat of getting into scoring position for Utley and Howard.
And the 2-0 is fouled off. 2-1 on Victorino. Shane has a dozen triples this year. And a little more pop from the right-hand side of the plate. Shane Victorino is a great story. He was twice Rule 5'd, once by the Dodgers, once by the Padres. This is to Wigginton. He's going to need some help, and Chacín gets over there. 2 gone. Let's take a look at the Rockies defensively. In the outfield, Eric Young's getting a bunch of starts in left field. He's handled himself just fine thus far. Dexter Fowler in center. Seth Smith will be in right. Chris Nelson is at third tonight. Tulowitzki, of course, at short. Mark Ellis back at second. Ty Wigginton in for Todd Helton at first. And behind the plate is Chris Iannetta. Chris has had a couple of days off as Eliezer Alfonso did the catching both Saturday and Sunday. And Helton being given a day. A lot of times after a travel day, that back can get sore. And you got the left-hander going in Hamels. Here's Utley. He takes inside ball 1. Hitting .359 over his last 10 ball games with 4 home runs. That's all they needed, right, for him to come back.
Yeah, really, just another Babe Ruth in the lineup. They've got enough already with the speed, the power, line drives, defense. They have all the components as a ball club.
That's a strike. 1-1. You know, Jeff, earlier this year, they won because they are so stocked with starting pitching, and they had to piece together their bullpen because of injuries down there. But now they're starting to score the runs that you expect the Phillies to score.
Yeah, when Utley was missing, really nobody to hit in front of Ryan Howard, so it was 3-2 games and 2-1s, that sort of thing. But now with, as you guys mentioned, the addition of Hunter Pence, Chase Utley in the lineup, when you're asking a Placido Polanco to hit 7th, Raul Ibanez 6th, that makes your lineup pretty long.
Yeah, that's an embarrassment of riches. We visited fellas about this before. For me, Polanco may be the best 2-hole hitter in the game, and he's hitting 7th in this lineup.
Well, the one Achilles heel, if they have one, is their bullpen with the loss of Lidge earlier in the season. A lot of different guys in a lot of different roles. It used to be a big strikeout bullpen. Now they're 11th in strikeouts, 13th in walks, which is a big number coming out of your bullpen. Be patient, make them throw strikes.
Well, Brad Lidge is back down there. He's just starting to get his feel for pitching at this level again after missing the first few months. Here's the 1-2 to Utley, and that's high and away. 2-2.
Sometimes as a pitcher, when you're trying to drive the ball to the inner half on a left-hander, you have a tendency to have a late head jerk, or you'll rush your upper half and the arm will, what we say pitching wise, run away from you. It's what happened the last couple of pitches to Chassin. Again, it happened there again, where that late head jerk, not staying on line long enough, arm just never catches up with the rest of the body.
3-2 on Utley. And the big man Ryan Howard is on deck. 2 outs, nobody on. Top of inning number 1. And boy, I thought that strike 3. That may have locked up Dan Iasanya, the home plate umpire. That looked like a pretty good slider at the top of the zone.
And that may have been exactly why it did not get called, because of being a breaking ball so high in the zone. A lot of umpires will not call this pitch that high into the zone on an off-speed pitch. They will on fastballs. Don't ask me why.
So now Howard's up there with 1 on, and he pops this up to shallow left field. Eric Young's there, and no harm done by perhaps that missed strike call on Chase Utley. Rockies against the left-hander Cole Hamels, and the rest of the Rockies order a little different tonight. Again, without Todd Helton in there. We're going to see Dexter Fowler batting second, and then Mark Ellis for the first time batting in the 3-hole in a Rockies uniform. He did on a rare occasion in Oakland. Troy Tulowitzki, Ty Wiggins in 4 and 5. Then Nelson Smith, the lone lefty in the lineup. Chris Iannetta and Chassin. Cole Hamels is 12-6 with a 2.61 ERA.
Yeah, both of those ranked second wins in the National League. His ERA, 2.61, is 6th in the National League. He's 4th in innings pitched, 6th in strikeouts. And if you look at his career coming into this year, just into this year, over 1,097 innings pitched, 1,037 strikeouts. So, you know, those left-handers with great command of the strike zone to both sides of the plate with 3 pitches. Exciting guy to watch. He handles the big bats in the lineups. 4 holes have only hit 182. The 5 holes hit 148. Out on the road this year is pretty special, making his 11th start, 5-2 record with a 3.06 earned run average.
1 out, and that'll bring up Dexter Fowler. Dexter had a great road trip. Really swung the bat well. In from the right side against Hamel, and that pitch is off the plate, ball 1. Dexter hit .429 on the trip, couple doubles, couple triples, drove in 3 and scored 8 runs. So threw out 3 walks in the 9 ball games.
And there's the cutter from Cole Hamels. That's a new pitch he really has started to implement a lot this year. to keep the hitters from just looking away and leaning out over the plate.
Well, he was the MVP of the NLCS a couple years ago, Jeff, with a 2-pitch mix, fastball, changeup. Now he's added the cutter and a breaking ball.
That's all he needed.
Yeah.
Good athlete around the mound. Good move to first base. I do think after they went to the World Series 08 that he pitched so many innings here, almost 267. It affected him early in the season in 09, and then came back in 010, pitched very well, and then again this year throwing the ball well.
2-2 on Dexter. And he strikes him out with a 93-mile-an-hour fastball. Well, another reason that the Phillies come in at 68 and 39, their ability to play defense. You really have 2 center fielders now in Victorino and Pence. Ibanez in left field. Polanco, very good hands at third. Rollins and Utley terrific up the middle. Ryan Howard at first, plenty adequate. And Carlos Ruiz, a good receiver.
It's kind of like the Rockies when Dexter Fowler and Carlos Gonzalez are patrolling 2/3 of the outfield. That's what you get with Victorino and Pence.
Yes. Here's the 0-1 to Mark Ellis. This is the 31st time in Ellis's career that he's hitting the 3-hole. 276 average, couple home runs, 12 RBIs. And this little pop up toward Ryan Howard. And a 1-2-3 start for Cole Hamels. We will go to the second inning, no score. Houston and a lot of Rizzo from Coors Field. This is Hunter Pence yesterday with his first extra base hit in the Phillies uniform, a double, and then in the 10th inning he came around on this Raul Ibanez extra base hit to score the game winner, and he takes strike one from Jhoulys Chacín. I read an old scouting report on Hunter Pence, George, when he was the #1 prospect in the Houston Astros organization back in 07. He was a second-round pick out of Texas Arlington, and it basically said, you know, he looks a little awkward. You know, he's tall and gangly, but he grows on you.
That plays out of control. I think a lot of people scouted. He plays a little out of control, but the job gets done.
It does. This is off the end of the bat, and Dexter's going to get there. He is a gamer.
Well, it tells you, too, maybe why he has that chip, because he played at Texas Arlington. And when you're in Texas, if you're a good baseball player, you're at the University of Texas, Baylor, Texas A&M, Texas Tech. You're not at Texas Arlington. That's not a knock, but if you're one of the upper echelon and going to college, that's where you go. So maybe he had that chip come out and said, you know, I got a lot of things I want to prove to a lot of people here.
Here's Raul Ibanez. takes ball one. Ibanez with a throwback game yesterday. A couple of home runs and the game-winning hit in the 10th inning. He drove in 4. Here's his day yesterday. He got a fastball out over the plate against Jeff Karstens, who's had a terrific year for Pittsburgh. And then he left the yard to left center field.
Well, that was unfair. It's pretty good pitcher. Guy that had a good arm, a big run on his fastball.
And the Phillies won the Battle of Pennsylvania, Frage. They swept the Pirates.
Clint Hurdle's team was very hot right after the break. They won a lot of baseball games. Actually overtook first place in the National League Central, and then have ran into a wall of late.
They just added a couple of pieces. Derek Lee at first base. Added yesterday Ryan Ludwig, who was in the starting lineup. Rockies were playing San Diego, and Ludwig was a late scratch. That's ball 4, so a 1-out walk to Ibanez. Second allowed now by Chacín. A reminder coming up later on in the ball game. Toyota Talk. You know the drill by now. Text Toyota followed by a space, and then your comments and questions to 720-720.
Well, something I found interesting is I looked at the Phillies. Like a lot of veteran teams, that first time they take a look at you, they'll be a little aggressive and not a lot of success. 237 average. Second time that lineup gets a look, it jumps 31% to 268, and then all the way to 280 on that third time through. So what it tells you is this lineup, being a veteran lineup, has such confidence throughout the lineup that they're not concerned when they're shut out for 3 or 4 innings. They know the offense is going to happen either against that starter or against the bullpen.
1-0 on a tough out. Placido Polanco.
Well, that's why, George, I think the second, third time through, if you start him off with the fastball the first time, second time it might have to be a breaking pitch, one of those get me over curveballs, change ups, so to keep them off balance that way.
You got to change location with the fastball. You got to bust them in, go away. You don't try to repeat with veteran guys and back up a lot of pitches. You'll get hurt.
1-1 on Polanco. He uses the opposite field very well. Good breaking ball. It's 1-2. And a lot of people may not know this about Polanco. He's a career .303 hitter.
I think in this area there's a lot of players. Hunter Pence is one of those guys that here in Denver the fans don't know a lot about a lot of these players because you see them 3 times in this ballpark.
Pence also closing in on 2,000 hits in his career, and that will add one right there. Jeff, great ability to hit behind in the count.
Well, because he stays so compact, he chokes up on the bat. There's 2 or 3 guys now in the lineup, in both lineups, that will choke up. Mark Ellis for the Rockies, Placido Polanco. We saw Hunter Pence a moment ago. So you don't need to be right down at the end of the knob to be successful at the big league level. Polanco just basically serves a ball out to left field. Wasn't hit all that hard, but that's what he does.
And the other side of that, Jeff, their lineup is so dangerous 1 through 8. You know, the bottom of the lineup can hurt you as much as the top. Obviously not as consistently as the top, but it is a dangerous lineup 1 through 8.
And this guy's turned himself into a pretty good player as well. Carlos Ruiz, good two-way catcher. First and second, 1 out. A walk and a single against Chacín.
Well, it reminds me a lot of when Charlie O'Brien was in Atlanta, just an average catcher, average hitter, but a very good receiver. Eddie Perez, those guys, when you can catch 4 number ones, you get pretty good. I mean, and that's what he gets the opportunity to do 4 out of 5 days a week.
1-0 on Ruiz. When Chacín's on his game, he gets a lot of ground balls. Do you think, fellas, a different mindset at all for Yolis, knowing that right now he's the number 1? Ubaldo's now a Cleveland Indian.
Well, I think that on success he's your number 1. I mean, starting next year, if you know, as soon as De La Rosa comes back, he's your number 1. But again, I think number 1 start the start of the year, and then with all the off days and the shuffling that goes on, maybe another 4 times you're facing the opposition's number 1. Yolis has been able to keep his hits per innings pitched down, 2nd in the league. Johnny Cueto just threw a gem against the Giants over the weekend.
3-hit shutout. Ground ball, could be 2. Ellis, good feed on to first. Nicely done. That's a pretty turn. Nice job around the bag by Tulowitzki. Middle of 2, no score. Tulo will lead it off. Wigginton and Nelson. Who wants tacos? Fans, remember, if the Rockies score 7 or more during any game, go to participating Colorado Taco Bell locations the next day between 4 and 6. Nice cast. And get your Rockies Taco Special. That is a very special cast. I hope you get it off very soon, though. Let's check in with Alana Rizzo. Alana?
All right, guys, thanks very much. Earlier, you were talking about the fact that maybe the bullpen is the only place where the Philadelphia Phillies could use some help. But if you look at everywhere else on this team, you'd be very hard-pressed to notice anything else that they actually do need. And it's because they've been very active at the trade deadline, specifically the one that just passed. If you take a look at the last 4 years of what they've done on the trade deadline, of course, we know about Hunter Pence this year from the Astros for cash and 3 minor leaguers. Last year it was Roy Oswalt from the Astros again. They got J.A. Happ and 2 minor leaguers. 2009 acquired Cliff Lee. Have you guys heard of him? And Ben Francisco from the Indians for 4 minor league prospects. And then in 2008, they acquired Joe Blanton. It wasn't quite at the trade deadline. That was back on July 17th. But again, that was the year that they went to and won the World Series. So it seems like they're always buying, and it's proven to be very successful for this team. But as George was mentioning earlier, very strong top to bottom of this lineup. Great starting pitching staff. Maybe their relieving core is the only thing they could use some help with, guys.
And you know what, Alana, the thing that I found interesting is that, you know, they stayed underneath the luxury tax with Houston accepting part of that at $178 million payroll. And Ed Wade, who is the general manager of the Houston Astros, this ball on a drop out in front of the Bonnies, and it looked interesting that he worked for so long as a Philadelphia Philly executive, and now he's in Houston, and they've been trade partners twice. It's really benefited these guys.
Well, you see that happen. I mean, the Rockies just made a big deal with Cleveland. I know it's been longer than a decade, but of course Dan O'Dowd, prior to taking over here as the general manager, worked in the Indians organization in their front office for a long period of time.
Well, I think you gain trust with it. And again, it takes 2 to dance. I mean, Dan can sit up there and come up with all the different players he wants to come up with, but the other team has to go, yeah, I'll give them to you. I mean, you can, you know, run your scouting department crazy trying to find guys. But if the other guy says no, then it kind of, you waste a lot of gas, air miles, hotels, and meals.
Yeah, you don't
trying to find things out.
You don't have a deal.
No, you don't have a deal.
Chris Nelson with Wigginton at first and 1 out.
Hey, the best deals are when it benefits everyone. You know, both sides make a deal to get better.
And that's only time will tell on the Rockies side of things.
Huge jump for Wigginton, and he's going to steal his 6th bat.
Obviously, they picked something up, Jeff, off of Cole Hamels, because he took off before his leg even lifted.
Yeah, and it could have been just, hey, let's just take a chance, too, because Hamill is not thrown over. You're thinking Ty Wigginton's not going to take off. He's got 5 stolen bases on the year, now his 6th, and only been caught 1 time. Why not? You know you're gonna have a tough time trying to score runs against Wigginton. I mean, excuse me, against Hamels.
You know, I think, too, you just traded away your number 1 or guy, and you know what, as a manager, but let's be aggressive. Let's go out and try to create some headaches for this other team. We're 10 back. You know, why play cautious, play aggressive, and see what happens out of it?
We saw it in the San Diego series.
Chris Nelson gone. That's out number 2, second strikeout for Cole Hamels. It'll bring up Seth Smith. Again, the only lefty in the lineup for the Rockies today. And Smith hitting .224 against lefties. 4 for 5 this year against Philadelphia.
He's never faced Cole Hamels.
And the interesting thing about Cole Hamels is he'll still throw the changeup to left-handers. Not many times will you see a left-handed pitcher do that.
You know, it's funny how you said that, because I spent 6 days in Modesto and talking with Ken Griffey Sr., who manages the Blaze, Bakersfield Blaze, the high A team for Cincinnati. His pitching coach was talking about forcing the right-handers to throw the changeup to right-handed bats. He said he felt there's too much of a mindset that, okay, a right-handed pitcher that's a sinker ball has got to come up with something to offset the left-handers, but they don't talk about the right-handers. And he said, I'm forcing them to throw the changeup as much as to righties as they are lefties, and they've had success with it.
2-0's in there, 2-1.
So much confidence in all pitches, talking about Cole Hamels. And he's behind 2-0 and fastballs away, and he drops a hook in at 77 miles an hour for strike 1.
And then he can rush it up there 93 to 94 with the 4-seamer.
This ball's well hit center field. Victorino turns his back, looking up, see you later. 2-run bomb, Seth Smith.
Just the 4th home run a left-hander has hit off Cole Hamels this year, where they've only hit .237 against him. Just the 9th home run he's given up overall, 5 to right-handers.
The only left-handed bat in the lineup, and he just smoked one about 430 straight away. It's also his first home run since June the 12th.
Really good job of getting his hands inside the baseball, trying to run the heater in on his hands, stayed out over the middle of the plate, and allowed Smith to kick the carry on the baseball, an extension of his arms, and obviously saw the ball well out of Cole Hamels' hands.
Huey, that made a loud sound.
Well, there was no doubt. I know he was kind of looking, wondering, but from the sound of it, there was no doubt that it was out.
Chris Ionette on one hop to Polanco. That'll end the inning, but the Rockies get 2 on the board. Seth Smith, his first look at Cole Hamels. And he hits a shot to straightaway center field. 2-0 Colorado. Colorado Rockies baseball on Root Sports is brought to you by your neighborhood Toyota stores. Toyota, moving forward. By AT&T, the nation's fastest mobile broadband network. And by King Soopers, more value for the way you live. Pretty swing from Seth Smith, and the Rockies have a 2-0 lead on Cole Hamels and the Phillies as we go to the top of the third inning.
That was a really cool shot of Spikes. I've got to ask Jeff something. Did you ever play in plastic?
It's funny you ask, because I was thinking the same thing with the little rain before the game. As an outfielder, I probably would not be wearing rubber spikes. I would have the metal ones on. And I never did, because I don't think they were as comfortable back, when I was playing so long ago that they are today. But I always just like to have that nice feeling underneath my feet. You see a lot of guys wearing them now, though.
Well, they're so much different now with all the heavy cleats, I think. That's the big part of it. So they can still continue to get traction.
Mark Ellis throws out Cole Hamels, 1 gone. We'll see Jimmy Rollins. Time for our Geico quote of the day from Michael Jack Schmidt, the Hall of Famer. Anytime you think you have the game conquered, the game will turn around and punch you right in the nose.
Yeah, I can tell you one thing for sure about Mike Schmidt. He struggled when he first came up. They wanted to run him out of Philly. Big time.
Jimmy Rollins hit a little comebacker his first time. And Chacin has one right over the inside corner at 92. And this is lifted foul and out of play. Quickly a 2-strike count on Rollins. Jimmy healthier this year. He missed 74 games last year. MVP of the National League back in 2007.
Great interview the other day with him, Drew, and I watched it. They said contract year, free agent year. I don't worry about that. I'm worried about getting another ring. Everything else take care of itself. Yeah, barely got it. Ultimate team player.
You can see Chacin upset about that. He was ahead 0-2, Huey, and he just wanted to bust him in, not hit him.
Yeah, just come in just so he could use that changeup and slider away. Just brush the jersey ever so slightly. Those are the best kind of hit by pitches. You don't feel them other than it just tugging on your jersey a little bit. But now you've got to worry about Jimmy Rollins stealing a base.
Don't add traffic, unnecessary traffic.
2 walks and a hit batsman so far in the ballgame. That's what Drew's talking about. You're giving them free passes. It's like the free throw. My dad used to say, why can't you make a free throw? It's free. You're giving out free passes with a lineup like this. You're going to get burnt.
Absolutely. I mean, you put a couple guys on and then Ryan Howard runs into one, or a Hunter Pence, or a Raul Ibanez.
Or anybody in their lineup.
Yeah, pretty much, right? Rollins is 24 out of 29 stealing bases.
And at a 23.4% efficiency rate at throwing base runners out.
It's a perfect size lead if you're Jimmy Rollins at first base, because that is the old step and a dive.
Well, not to take anything at all away from Sam Palazzo, but they had one of the best first base coaches in baseball with Davey Lopes when it came to base running and the art of teaching how to steal bases.
Well, that's why they're still #1 as far as success ratio at the big leagues, well over 80%. The stealing bases because of what Davey taught him.
That's a strike. Victorino, you can tell, thought it was up. And Shane may be right.
Well, one pitch late in games usually will win a ball game. In the second inning or third inning, that's not the case. The hitters as pitchers do also, think one pitch can change the at-bat so dramatically that it ends up costing you in a ball game early.
Here's the 1-1, and that's outside. 2 balls and a strike on Victorino.
So I don't like the ratio of 20-20 right now to 40 pitches. That's not the guy that was 8-4 with a low earned run average.
And it wasn't the guy we saw in Los Angeles.
No, very attacked the strike zone.
Noticed him, he's been up and away in the zone a lot today.
Well, that's what we talked about early in the ball game, Jeff, where that late head jerk, if you're watching his delivery, sometimes he does it, some he doesn't. But it's that head jerk, and when you jerk your head at the end of the delivery, a lot of times the arm doesn't follow, so it's late, and you miss, as they say in baseball terms, arm side, away from a left-handed batter and up in the zone.
We'll look for Rollins to run here on the 3-1 count.
You know, one thing that we talked a lot about during interleague play when the Rockies played the Yankees, how patient their lineup is. And you know they have a great lineup. Philadelphia has a bunch of 30-somethings in this lineup who obviously are very talented. They make you throw a strike, too.
Well, they almost have seen close to 4 pitches per at bat.
No movement, and this one is deflected. And the Rockies somehow get the force because Tulowitzki's unbelievable.
That's really, you described it perfectly. He's unbelievable. Ricocheted off the glove of Chacin. He barehands it. Ellis still carrying himself to the bag. Catches the flip. And you know what? Rollins wasn't in motion, Jeff. This may have cost him.
Yeah, it was going to be a double play because it wasn't hit that hard. But how about the reactions from Troy? When you're going to your left as a shortstop, it's hard, for one, just to stop, but two, your natural reaction is, I want to throw my glove over there. And he did. He just said, I only have time to get my bare hand there.
I have to believe that's one of the few times Jimmy Rollins on a 3-1 pitch isn't moving.
That's why I meant by that. With him in motion like that, I don't think you get the out at second base.
And you might have a tough time getting Victorino at first if Troy was going to the bag and then had to go back barehanded with Victorino's speed coming out of the left side of the box.
Yeah, you know what, Jeff? That's my point exactly, because if Jimmy's going, Rollins is going to, you have no play at second, and I think there's no way you're going to get Victorino. I agree with you. Fortunately, he wasn't going. 2 outs. Chase Utley at the plate. Here's the 0-1, and that just missed. It's 1-1. George, talking to your old friend Sarge, had dinner with him downstairs tonight, and he was talking about it's a good mix of, you know, veteran guys and guys who are a little more laid back and guys who have a chip on their shoulder. And the first guy he mentioned, Chase Utley.
Absolutely.
This ball's well hit to right by Utley, and it is off the wall. Victorino's getting a green light. They have a play on him. Here's the throw from Ellis. Out at the plate. 9-4-2. Victorino's cut down on the double by Chase Utley. And the goose egg next to the Phillies remains. Great tag by Iannetta as well. play to cut down a fast man in Shane Victorino. Let's talk about Jeff hitting guys in the chest on cutoffs.
Well, there was a lot of things that went right on that whole play. Seth Smith playing it off the wall. Let's not forget about that, because that was a good one. And then Mark Ellis catching it with this momentum going home. And one thing that you really couldn't see on that, but I could hear it down here at field level, was also Ty Wigington helping him out with the cutoff, yelling and telling him to go home.
Well, what I liked, there was no hesitation. You know, a lot of times middle infielders will catch it, and because of the noise of a stadium, they don't hear a Ty Wigington. And so they turn and hesitate to look. Wigington just turned, fired, and threw a bullet to the plate.
And watch Victorino. He realizes he's in trouble and
trying to dance around it. Chris got him twice, once in the inner thigh, and then later on up on the hand as he came back around. He gets him right here. There's one tag, and then there's the second tag, but Victorino's trying to dance his way into a safe call.
I like the way he stayed with it and just didn't do this sweep tag.
this is a bouncer up the middle with topspin. Jimmy Rollins spinning, and he got Eric Young. Well, there's two guys who have that patented now, Jimmy Rollins and Troy Tulowitzki.
UI realizing the ball up the middle. Jimmy Rollins with the snap thrown in the long stretch, a little offline. It is a good call.
Ryan Howard adjusted his feet on the bag, because when he went to stretch at first, he was more in the middle of the bag, then saw where the throw was going and just did a little shuffle, a little dance step on the bag.
Well, when you're a competitor like Tulowitzki, even though you play 162 ball games, and we know Tulowitzki gets up for each and every one of them, he knows who's on the other side.
Absolutely.
Beat him out of a gold glove in 07.
Here's the 1-0 on Dexter, and this is a more routine play for Rollins. 1-2-3 in the inning for Cole Hamels. Rockies leading as we go to the fourth, 2-0. Phils, Drew Goodman, George Frazier, Jeff Houston down field level, and Alana Rizzo wandering around the ballpark tonight. AT&T trivia question: in 1989, the same week Mike Schmidt retired, a trade was announced with the Padres. Which pudgy outfielder, I didn't write this, which pudgy outfielder first baseman did the Phillies acquire? Why do we have to have that kind of description?
You wrote it. Admit it. You wrote it.
First of all, if I'm ever in the truck, they throw me out. Much less touching anything in the truck.
You didn't touch it. You just wrote it and relayed it all down to the truck.
Well,
I'm just teasing, folks. He didn't write that.
Rockies put a shift on with Ryan Howard, and it's Chris Nelson who flips over to the left side. Tulowitzki remains in his shortstop slot outside on Ryan Howard. Jeff?
I like that. We've seen it a couple different times this year. Leave the shortstop where he feels comfortable. Put the third baseman over there. And then all he has to think about is knocking the ball down and making the short throw.
And in this case,
well, and
Chris
with Chris
has played
is
a lot
okay,
of
yeah.
He's played a lot of second base. Obviously, he has a background at short also, so it'd probably work either way. But he was all excited, Huey. I was talking to Nelson earlier. He was excited about it. He said, hey, we're going to put a shift on with Howard, and I get to flip over there.
All the little things that make a ball player happy.
Well, the other side of it, because of the arm strength of Tulowitzki, too. If he has to go over and backhand 1, 2 or 3 steps over, if Howard happens to hit one to the left side, that arm's going to play huge in getting him out at first base.
He got to throw him a strike first. 3-0. Boy, does he really have the resume to be allowed to hit 3-0, George?
Yeah, I was watching the swing, but yes, he does. but I was watching the swing, and in baseball terms, Jeff, you call it loopy.
Yeah, especially on a 3-0 to get sawed off like that.
And Chris Nelson, your basic 5-3 on the right side of the diamond. Howard's now 0 for 9 this year against the Rockies. Hunter Pence will be coming up. Text Toyota followed by a space, and then your comments and questions. 720-720 Toyota Talk. Here's what we're thinking about tonight. Who do you believe will win the National League pennant this year? Hunter Pence at the plate, and he takes high ball 1. Pence hit a fly ball off the end of the bat to shallow center field. Well, you go to Philadelphia, and they love all their sports teams. Pence ran out there in the top of the first inning to right field, and another sellout at Citizens Bank, and the entire crowd was on their feet. He had to doff. I mean, he hadn't played it out yet. He's got to doff his fedora.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I didn't hit that well for Philadelphia, since putting on that uniform, maybe feeling a little bit of the pressure that goes along with being that guy.
He made that a bang play at first. 6-3. Two gone.
He'll immediately become a fan favorite just for that reason, busting it down the line.
Right here, the best records in baseball. Philadelphia right now just slightly ahead of the Red Sox, a game and a half better than the Yankees. The Braves, people forget about the Braves because they're in the same division as the Phils, and they got themselves a lot better with the addition of Michael Bourne, and then of course the defending world champions, the Giants. Ibanez on 2 hops to Ellis. A lot of ground balls from Chacin. He is safely through the 4th inning, quickly and quietly. 2-0. Hi there. And Jolice Chassin visiting on the Rockies bench. 2-0 Colorado on a 2-run home run by Seth Smith. And a ground ball gloved by Polanco, and he's going to get Mark Ellis by a stride. Let's check in with Lana Rizzo with tonight's Fast Cash Sideline Report. It's brought to you by Fast Cash Gold Centers, where you'll always get 40% more for your gold. Alana, how are you?
I am doing well, Drew. Thanks very much. I want to talk a bit more about Jolice Chassin. A nice performance so far in this ballgame, and he will continue to have these types of performances because he has now been thrust into the forefront of this Rockies rotation with the departure of Ubaldo Jimenez and, of course, the injury to De La Rosa. He is largely here in part because of Rolando Fernandez, the Senior Director of International Scouting. And, guys, we were talking a little bit about it this weekend, but he's in the 19th season with the Rockies. He oversees all aspects of international scouting. He is responsible for bringing Ubaldo Jimenez, Jolice Chassin, Esmiel Rogers, Jonathan Herrera, Juan Nicasio, among others, to the Colorado Rockies organization. Again, just up until a couple of days ago, he had scouted and signed every single person in the rotation with the exception of Jason Hamill. And now, of course, Aaron Cook was not signed by Fernandez. But a big reason why we have so many of these pitchers, not only from the Dominican Republic, but from Venezuela. He does a tremendous job with all of the Latin countries in terms of scouting. You can see it here in the Rockies starting rotation, guys.
Well, there's some position players coming. Willeen Rosario, Dan O'Dowd told us yesterday, there's a very good chance Rosario will be up at some point this year. We've talked before, fellas, about the work Rolando and his staff has done in Latin America. And because of the success of some of those players, now when he goes and visits with, a lot of times 16-year-old kids down there, the Rockies as an organization very much on their radar.
Well, yeah, especially with Carlos Gonzalez being as big as he is down in Venezuela. That's going to help get your foot in the door because he's here wearing a Rockies uniform. And that helps.
1-2. Tulowitzki rolls it foul.
Hey, check out Power Tickets, which include $10 to $15 of concession credit available in the midfield box or outfield club sections. Power Tickets. Go to ColoradoRockies.com to find out more.
There's no singular way to put a top-notch 25-man or 40-man roster when you expand it out in baseball on the field without doing a very good job in Latin America, doing a good job drafting and developing, doing a good job picking here and there in terms of free agency, and also making good trades. It's all of the above. It's not one with the exclusion of the other three, let's say.
Well, the key for me in all organizations, not just the Rockies, it's all organizations, when you have a Garrett Atkins make the impact he had as an 11th round draft pick, a Brad Hopp doing what he did, a Corey Sullivan, a 4th round with Chris Iannetta. The 1st and 2nd round guys, those are the guys you can't miss on. The first, sandwich, and second are guys that have to get here. But it's those other guys that are on the backside that have, as we've talked a lot about tonight, the chip on their shoulder to prove to people, you know what, yeah, you took me in the 8th round, let me show you a few things. Hunter Pence being one of those guys. Shane Victorino, one of those guys.
Oh, yeah, no question. I'll tell you another one of those guys we'll show you after this pitch. 1-2 with 1 out. And this is on the ground to Rollins. Low throw, and the scoop is made by a former 5th round pick, Ryan Howard. We're talking about guys that were outside the 1st round that have made a major impact on the game. Howard wasn't in the first 4 rounds, George.
No, and a big home run hitter at Missouri State when he played there. Went to high school in St. Louis, then went down to Missouri State. Now, obviously, an all-star home run threat. Ooh. Nice catch on a bang-bang play at first base by Howard.
2 outs. Ty Wigginton, who singled and scored on the Smith home run. He's up there with 2 outs. That's a strike.
But I will say this, too. I think when it's a success of the entire organization. Starting with a scout that's putting 50,000 miles on his car, driving and covering his 6-8 state region and staying in bad motels and bad towns trying to hunt down talent, to the guys that bring them all the way to the big leagues and then have the success here. It's a group effort of success and a group effort when it's a failure too.
2-1 on Wigginton. Got good numbers against Hamels, 4 for 7.
328 and 50 career games against Philadelphia. Ty Wigginton's had success against their organization in his career.
He's sitting on that heater, Jeff, and he got the changeup.
Well, it's not a good position to be in, but better that he swung and missed or tried to check his swing and to call the strike than dribbling it back to the pitcher. Those are the ones that will drive you batty. Oh, I didn't mean to swing. Oh, I'm out. 1-3.
Well, I think it's difficult when you're facing a guy like Cole Hamels to set heater because of his ability to do everything with all the rest of his pitches.
That's going to squeak through the left side. Another knock for Wigginton.
As mentioned, 328 50 career games versus Philly with 2 hits here tonight.
Well, some more good news on the Carlos Gonzalez front. Today, instead of just tee and cage work, he was out on the field taking batting practice. Meeting with Keith Duggar beforehand. And we watched it, and he looked a lot like Carlos Gonzalez, Huey.
It was easy and fun to watch him swing today. He did change his bottom hand just a little bit. Instead of being off the knob, he just is right on the end of it. Didn't have his finger draped over the edge.
Chris Nelson with a base hit right center field. Wigginton's going to go first to third. And 2 are aboard for Seth Smith with 2 gone.
The Rockies, a lot like the Phillies, second time through, their average jumps 30 points. We're seeing a little bit of this going on with 2 outs now with this Rockies lineup. They hit not a whole lot early. Now they're starting to bounce some hits together with a couple outs, and it's down towards the bottom of the lineup that's doing it.
We got to come up with a new nickname for Wigginton. He's 6 of 7 in bags. We think Ricky. He just went first to third there. Ricky, no? You're not buying that?
No. No. Because you're insinuating Ricky Henderson?
Yeah.
No.
Here's Smith. Last time up against Cole Hamels. First time he ever faced him in the regular season. And he swatted one about 430 to dead central. That's the difference in this game right now. I want to correct something. The notes were off a little bit. It was his first home run since June 21st, not June 12th.
Or you could say just a while.
It was a Cleveland series.
It was a while back.
Yeah, it was against the Indians.
He was on the dad's trip when his dad was with him.
He had 2 in that game. 1 and 2. Trying to get him to chase high. Smith has 6 ABs this year against the Phils. And he's got 5 hits. That'll work. I'll keep you in the lineup. Here's the 2-2. And it runs full 3 and 2. So Nelson will be moving here. Chris at first, Ty Wigginton at third. Back-to-back 2-out singles. These folks seem to be getting along just fine. And a ground ball to Ryan Howard. That'll end the inning. So the Rockies get a couple of hits. They leave 2 on. As we go to the 5th inning, Colorado leading 2-0 over Cole Hamels and the Phils. Excel Energy high efficiency inning. Well, the fourth inning was awfully good for Jolice. He had Ryan Howard at the plate. Rockies had the shift on. Chris Nelson throws him out. Hunter Pence hits a ground ball to Tulowitzki. Not a good place to hit it if you aspire to reach. And then Raul Ibanez on two-hopper to Mark Ellis. That was quick and efficient. It's brought to you by Excel Energy. Learn about energy efficiency and how to save energy and money in your home by visiting responsiblebynature.com. Chacin will face Polanco, Ruiz, and Hamels here. Bottom third of the Phillies lineup in the fifth. And Polanco lifts his arms. It's in, ball one. Polanco, if you look at the starter comparison, Polanco, a career .341 hitter against the Rockies. This will be a tough chance for Fowler. Can he get there? Yeah. You know, Jeff, you have a different angle tonight than we do. We're right behind home plate naturally, and off the bat, you know that's going to tail toward right, and you're thinking, man, that may be a tweener. From your angle, Dexter made that thing look easy.
Yeah, I didn't think it so much just because of the sound of it. I knew he hit it pretty good, but I didn't think it was hard enough where it would get by Dexter out in center field just because of the amount of ground that he covers.
That'll bring up Carlos Ruiz. Philadelphia is one of 5 teams that have a winning record at home and a winning record at home. At home, they have the best record of the National League. They're 41-18. They're near the top in road record, 27-21. And this ball, another tough chance for Fowler, and it's going to be over his head. And Ruiz is going to have a 1-out double. Second double of the ball game for Philadelphia. Utley had one in the third.
Now that one sounded like it was going over his head.
Well, that had a little tattoo on it. It sure did. It was a ball that stayed in that inner half and allowed him to open that front side, turn on it, and drive it into right center field. Dexter started to take the angle, but this ball just had so much carry, it didn't allow him to make a play on it. Interesting note on Jhoulys Chacin with a pitcher up, and I understand this is a decent hitting pitcher, but with runners in scoring position, you listen to what I'm going to tell you, folks. Foul ball right down the line. The all-time lowest batting average with runners in scoring position since 1974. Steve Traxel, 96 Cubs, they had 137. Buzz Capra, 74 Atlanta Braves, $138. Clemens with Houston in 05, $138. And Chacin is at 138 in 2011. Impressive number by Jhoulys.
Two-strike count on Hamels. By the way, the other 4 teams that are over 500 this year, home and road in the National League: Atlanta, no surprise; St. Louis, probably not a big surprise; Pittsburgh, and Arizona. These last two,
those are shocking.
Yeah. Ionetta's going to stare down Ruiz, hold him, and complete the strikeout at first base. That's the second out. And here's another surprise. Chacin, who normally racks up a bunch of strikeouts, that's number 1 for him tonight. 2 gone, and Jimmy Rollins will come up for a third time. He's 0 for 1. He was hit by an 0-2 pitch in the third. Windshield damage, call Safelite Auto Glass, 303-287-5 or go to safelite.com. Rollins grew up in the Philadelphia organization, originally a second-round pick in 1996. He was a high school All-American out of the Oakland area. Further proof, Huey, this game does not discriminate against size.
And that's what makes baseball so beautiful. That you can have a guy on your team the size of Jimmy Rollins. You can have a guy as big as Ryan Howard, and every size in between.
Good 2-0 pitch. He didn't give in, George, with the heater. He took something off.
Well, and it's something he needed to do. And again, it's one of the best pitches in baseball. Jeff can attest to this. Is a BP fastball, and it's a lot like a changeup. It's all the same arm action. It's all the same move. That ball had late dip on that. That was a nice pitch.
2-1. Then he came back with the express on the outside corner, and it's 2-2. Talk about hitters getting back in counts. Well, the pitcher just got back in the count.
It's all about deception and changing speeds, disrupting the timing of a hitter. Now you don't know what to look for if you're Jimmy Rollins.
Back foot slider. What do you think?
Well, the way he crowds the plate, it's a good way to go to it. Doesn't make it difficult. There's your second strikeout for him.
That's stepping up, George, as you said. Get a little traffic, runner in scoring position. He shut the inning down. 2-0 Rockies. Jolie Chassin shutting down the Phils so far. As we go to the bottom of the 5th inning. AT&T trivia question. In 1989, the same week that Mike Schmidt retired, a trade was announced. The Phillies and Padres. Which outfielder, first baseman did the Phillies acquire? They cleaned that up this time. Do you notice that? He's no longer
fat,
chubby
guy.
Yeah. John Kruk.
That thing you wrote about being pudgy.
Yeah, and he came with Randy Reddy for Chris James. Randy Reddy's now the hitting instructor for the San Diego Padres. That was advantage Huey, Philadelphia.
Yeah.
John Kruk was quite a hitter.
Yeah, I think they won that matchup, even though it was a 2-for-1.
1-0 on Iannetta. And
watch out.
That's a bullet. Foul. Chris hit the ball on the ground to third his first time. 3 for 16 road trip for Chris. It's his changeup he missed with 2-1. George, you know, whenever we have something we can't figure out, we naturally like to come your way. We need you to explain something. How is it that the Rockies have lost 15 straight Sundays?
I don't have an explanation. What are you looking at? I have no idea.
Well, I thought maybe
I'm sorry. No, I don't have an answer to it. Heads up. We got bats, we got balls. He's throwing everything at us.
It's about in the same neighborhood where he just hit that line drive.
Yikes.
Look, there's Brian Peters.
He's hiding.
Well, I don't know. You know what, Brian? Step out from behind that camera. You don't need to hide. Brian's about 260. Benches like 6 villages at a time. But there's a lot of things whizzing his way tonight. Baseballs, bats. 3-2, and this is a big chopper for Polanco. He's in play. 1 out.
Well, the $24 green packs are now available on Sunday through Wednesday home games, so get yours today and help the Rockies plant trees. Go to ColoradoRockies.com/green for more information.
Fortunately, nobody got hurt. You go to the ballpark, and really the last thing you think you're going to get is a bat. Chacin with a base hit.
They have a leg kick going, too.
I want to get a little more power. Stay on that backside, huh, Jeff?
Yeah, well, he also wanted to take over the lead in pitchers' hits.
Well, Hamill threw the double out the other day, and that moved him into the lead.
Oh, this just tied him up. That's right.
Yeah, so
Got on top. That ball was up above the belt.
So he's tied again with Jason, 6 hits apiece.
They throw out so many hits, they kind of get lost with the numbers after a while.
I understand. This is back up the middle. Utley doesn't glove it, and Chacin will stop at second. Jeff, that just go under his glove? Looked like he's there feet-wise.
Well, I think in my mind, Jeff, I'm thinking from looking up here, Utley's thinking, all right, I got EY running, the pitcher at first. I got to get rid of this in a hurry. And he just pulled the glove back, thinking he's got to make it quickly.
Yeah, he didn't attack that baseball very well at all, and maybe when it shot off the mound, it did something different. But you're right, he forgot to field it before he made the flip. He was thinking about Eric Young Jr.
I think you got to give him a hit, and that's what they do, is get any leather on it.
Well, it's about time. I was kidding with Eric Young in the locker room today. I said, well, I counted up 4 hits you should have had in the San Diego series.
What did I say?
This is the big leagues.
When the kid made the great play at second base, he laid out and caught the flare.
Yeah.
I said, they make those plays here. This is the big leagues. He started laughing.
Dexter Fowler takes a strike. Jimmy Rollins robbed him his last time up. So EY had at least one of those coming. The Rockies 2 on, 1 out. Check it out at first. Dale Scott, the crew chief, says nope, no swing. Cole Hamels lost his last outing against the Giants, who's a hard luck loser, 2-1, because he pitched very, very well deep into the ball game. Wells Fargo customers, get your 2-for-1 Rockies tickets today by going to wellsfargo.com/Rockies. See a Wells Fargo banker today for details. Three and 1. Ball 4, and now they're loaded up for Mark Ellis. Rich Doobie doesn't have to do this much, George, with this starting staff.
No, you normally don't. Having a lot of conversations out there right now as he works his way around to trouble.
So I think this is the best job to have if you want to be a pitching coach in baseball. What do you think?
These guys?
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of like Leo Mazzoni for a number of years with the Atlanta Braves.
Yeah.
All right, Glavine, Smoltz, yeah, you guys go get him. Oh, yeah, Maddox. Pretty easy job.
Runner at third base is Chacin. At second base, Eric Young. And at first base, Dexter Fowler. 2 singles and a walk. Now would be a great time for Mark Ellis to break out of a little slide. He's 0 for his last 17 at the plate. He's hit really well at Coors Field. Strike 1. This is one of those situations. You're facing a top flight pitcher. You have a 2-0 lead, middle innings. Find a way to expand the lead here. And that's called a strike. 0-2.
And the good thing too is you have speed at second and third, so if the ball gets into the gap or the outfielders have to move just a little bit, there's a chance you could score Dexter from first base.
And on 3 pitches, Hamels gets the strikeout of Ellis. And now it'll be left to Tulowitzki with 2 outs. Fourth strikeout of the ball game for Hamels. That was a big one. Troy, a ground ball to short and a ground ball to short. Outside, ball 1. Troy, .417 batting average out on the road, a couple of home runs, 4 doubles. He drove in 9 in 9 ball games. So he is in a very good place. Here's the 1-0. Utley just jumped over a couple steps toward the middle of the diamond defensively.
Tells you how they're going to pitch him. 2 ground balls to short so far.
There's that swing pitch, and it's taken for a ball. So it swings in favor of the hitter, 2-1.
Numbers dictate that. I mean, they'll tell you on a 2-1 count, hitters' averages jump 30-40%. I wonder what it is against guys that are number ones. You know, a Hamill, a Halladay. You know, the guys that are really at the top of their game that have no fear of throwing any pitch in any certain situation.
Here's the 2-1. A little extra mustard on that heater in. 94 miles an hour. Fouled straight back. We're at Coors Field. Outstanding Monday night crowd. First of 3 between the Rockies and the Phillies. With George Frazier, Jeff Houston, and Alana Rizzo, I'm Drew Goodman. Rockies got a 2-run home run from Seth Smith in the second. Chacin has allowed just 3 hits. He has a hit offensively. He's at third base right now. 2-2 with the bases loaded. Very close, but in. 3-2. You can just tell by the body language of Carlos Ruiz. He thought that ended the inning.
Well, even the look of Cole Hamels after this pitch was thrown, he froze it, and I see why he had a complaint right at the bottom of the zone.
So now the runners will be moving. This is an enormous sequence right here. Rockies a chance to open up a significant lead. Charlie Manuel's club has won 3 in a row. And get this, over their last 15 road games, they've won 5 straight series. They're 10-5. They just win. And they've been doing it for several years. Another 3-2. Fly ball down the left field line and deep. Stay fair. And calls foul. That would have scored everybody.
That would have made this game a little bit more difficult on the Philadelphia Phillies to get back into the middle of this. Appeared to be a breaking ball down and in or something off speed. Tulowitzki tried to clear out the front side, get the head of the bat through quicker so he could keep it in fair territory.
It looked like a changeup.
Wins the battle with Tulowitzki. The Rockies have the bases loaded, 1 out. They don't get a ball in play. It remains 2-0 as we go to the 6th. E470 and Express Toll celebrating 20 years of excellence. Philadelphia is here tomorrow night and Wednesday afternoon. We're on the air at 12:30 with the pregame show on Root Sports. And then Washington comes to town Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday afternoon. And then the Rockies will be in Cincinnati, Ohio to see Dusty Baker's Reds. Reds playing better baseball. They just swept the Giants. 2-0. Seth Smith, a 2-run home run back in the 2nd inning, and Chacin has made it stand up. He's going to see the very interesting portion of the Phil's order in the 6th. Shane Victorino, Chase Utley, and Ryan Howard for the 3rd time. Hey there. That awkward moment, Jeff, when the camera is there, it's all of a sudden right in your face. And what do I do? Well, waving's just fine. That works.
I'm really on TV.
Yes, you are. Tonight we asked, who do you think will win the National League pennant this year? Toyota Talk question. San Francisco Giants will unfortunately win the pennant because they picked up Beltran for some offense. That's Nathan and Monument.
So say the same thing about Atlanta and
Philadelphia.
Philadelphia Phillies.
Yeah, I really like the acquisition of Bourne for Atlanta. You know, Bourne was born in the Phillies organization.
That's right, he was, wasn't he?
Yep. And then went to Houston.
Replaced Willie Taveras.
When Willie was part of the Jason Jennings trade with Taylor Buchholz and Jason Hirsch.
Yeah, that's exactly right. They all came over. Jason Jennings still pitching, I think, for the Fort Worth Cats.
He's in an independent.
Yeah, it's a tough
baseball
league down there. That's the same league that, when I say tough, there's a lot of ex-big leaguers that come in there and play in that league.
2-2 on Victorino. Ground ball to Wigginton, and that's a foul ball, fortunately. That was one of those tweener hops. I think the Phils will take it. I hope we give them a run. All right, great. A pop-up right side. Mark Ellis calling for it. And Victorino's retired. That'll bring up Utley, a walk and a double.
Chassin, so what a great job. I mean, he's had a couple of balls hit hard. Utley hit the one and down to right field, and he had a ball in center field over the head on Ruiz when he hit the line drive over Dexter's head. Other than that, he's had total command of this ball game.
Keeping the pitch count relatively low at 72 here in the 6th inning.
That's outstanding.
I enjoy watching this guy hit. I prefer to watch him when
he's way away.
Yeah, he's playing against somebody else.
When you're sitting in your recliner at home.
Yeah, or you're watching in the clubhouse before the game.
Well, could you imagine he and Garrett Atkins hitting back-to-back when Garrett was in his prime and doing well?
At UCLA, yeah.
Back-to-back in that lineup. Two guys you wouldn't want to face.
Huey, I always say he's got a real short finish, yet generates a ton of power.
Yeah, I'm not sure it's so short. It just looks like it because he doesn't wrap the bat all the way around his back, but he's already made contact and generated the power through there.
Like that.
It is unusual, though. You don't see many guys be able to do that like Chase Utley.
Yeah, right down the line, the ball's going to hook because it got a little bit inside. The head of the bat got out early. Foul by about 3 or 4 feet up into the seats.
A lot of votes for Philadelphia. Somebody'd like to see Atlanta back in it.
There's a Brew Crew shout out.
It could be an under-the-radar club. They have some pitching, and they obviously at the first half of that order is really dangerous.
Well, I think the other side too. What's some team might add in the next 30 days? 31 days because of the waiver trade. The deadline's over for the non-waiver. Now you've got the waiver deadlines, and guys start to push people through.
Well, that's how San Francisco got Cody Ross last year.
Exactly.
They were just putting in a claim because they didn't want San Diego to get him.
Did he help them at all?
Yeah, just a little. Maybe an MVP or something like that during one of the playoff series.
Yeah, pretty special. 1-2 on Chase Utley, a lifetime .345 hitter against the Rockies with 12 home runs and 56 RBIs. By the way, Ubaldo will go for the Indians Friday. That's fouled back.
A few people popping in and saying that the Giants, and they are in pretty good hands when you look at their pitching staff from number 1 all the way to the end of their bullpen. It's in pretty good shape.
Lana had a piece earlier, fellas, on the Phillies bullpen, and I know in talking to Charlie Manuel earlier tonight, one of the things he told all of us is that Ryan Madson's been their MVP in the bullpen. I mean, he's had to assume several different roles and really saved them. This is going to go foul.
Well, 18 out of 19 in saves when they didn't know who was going to pick up the slack when Brad Lidge was out.
Yeah, but it wasn't just, if you remember, it wasn't just Lidge. Jose Contreras, the former Rocky, was the next in line, and Jose was doing a great job closing games, and then he hurt his elbow, and he still is not well. He's had some setbacks rehabbing, and that's when Ryan Madson stepped forward, and he's been marvelous. And then Bastardo's done some good things as well late in ball games. Brad Lidge is back down in the bullpen, more in a setup role at least right now.
Well, good hitters, and we've seen Todd Helton do this numerous times. When they get a lot of looks at you like this, it can make a difficult at bat for you. in the long run and hurt you in some capacities. Helton's done it throughout his career. When he starts to see 6, 7, 8 pitches from you, you've offered all 3 in different locations, and he continues to battle you. It just makes it difficult.
Everyone was 20-20, George, 40 pitches in, 20 strikes, 20 balls. Now 27-12. Misses there with a 94-mile-an-hour fastball. 2-2. So Chacin has really cleaned it up in terms of spraying the fastball. He's pounded the zone since the first couple of innings. That last pitch was number 80, which is a real good number here with 1 out in the 6th. You could go underhanded here, Jeff, just do the slow pitch softball.
Or just tell him what's coming. Say, here, we're trying to throw a fastball. Then he's thinking, are they really throwing a fastball, or is it a changeup? Is it a curveball? I'm just kidding, folks. But that's kind of what it feels like. So, hey, we have just as good a chance to get him that way.
To first, and Chacin's going to win the battle. 2 outs as Utley rolls to Wigginton. Well, Chacin had a good outing against Philadelphia back in May. Went 7 innings, gave up just a run on 4 hits, struck out 9. When he gets ahead in the count, he is really, a couple reallys there, tough to hit. And the batting average suggests that. 204 batting average. There's only one guy who's had a lower batting average against this year, and that's Johnny Cueto now. Ryan Howard hits this well to center field. Dexter Fowler's going to get there. And it turns into a 1-2-3 inning. Middle of the 6th. For the Coors Light freeze cam. Cole Hamels tried to beat Seth Smith with a fastball. Didn't work out too well for Hamels. 2-run home run to straightaway center field. And that represents the only runs of the ball game. That 2-run home run by Smith. It's brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer. Ty Wigginton in the 6th, then Nelson and Smith. Wigginton is 2 for 2 against Cole Hamels, 5 for 8 now in his career. Heard the name Cole Hamels for a while, yet he's just 27. First round pick out of Southern California, the area, not the school. Outside 1-2. Interestingly, he was drafted in 2002 with the 17th pick in the first round. His teammate, one Roy Halladay, was drafted in the first round with the 17th pick out of Arvada West High School back in 1995. So I guess that 17th pick's been pretty good. This ball is in the air to left center field. Victorino's going to chase it down. One gone. Chris Nelson coming up as we again go to Alana Rizzo. Alana?
All right, guys, thanks very much. You know, from time to time, we have the fans ask you guys questions. Well, a question that came up that we didn't get answered is, why is the bullpen called the bullpen? Well, I did some research on it, and there are two popular theories. The first one is, back in the day, way back in the day, when ball games were played out in the field, that's where the bulls and the cows ate the grass, making it perfect for, you know, to play ball. Perfect conditions for that. Well, off to the side, there was a smaller fenced-in area where they kept the bulls that were grazing where they didn't want them to graze at the time. This is where the other pitchers that were playing in the game warmed up out of the field to play. Now, another theory is that Bull Durham tobacco used to be advertised in baseball stadiums, notably in and around the outfield fence, and in particular the area where the pitchers would warm up. So there you go, bullpen, that's where that name was created. I don't really think it has much to do with actual bulls, except the fact they were in there where they didn't want them to graze, guys.
2-strike count on Chris Nelson. Alana, actually, I thought you were going to somehow wind this back to the University of Colorado and the bullpen that Ralphie comes out of on Saturday afternoon.
Ralphie comes out of a buff pen, not out of a bullpen.
Oh, you know, I have to read the fine print there.
Soon we will have college football and we will see Ralphie again.
Polanco throws out Nelson. 2 gone.
Hey, the first 10,000 adults 21 or older on August 6th will receive a Rockies baseball cap courtesy of Coors Light. Get tickets to that ball game on Saturday versus the Washington Nationals. It's the first 10,000 will get that hat.
Smith, a 2-run home run and a ground ball to first. Phil's starters have allowed an ERA of just 3.02. They were the most talked about group in terms of a rotation in quite some time. And Cliff Lee signed again with them in the offseason. And they've dealt with some injuries, most notably to Roy Oswalt. They've held up their end of the bargain. It leads baseball, that ERA. The Giants are next. The Rockies are 24th with a 4.29 starters ERA. Roy Oswalt's making a start in Lehigh Valley tonight. If all goes well, he's going to be activated over the weekend. 1-2.
Yeah, that's all they need.
And the news not so good for Joe Blanton. It appears Joe Blanton's going to be out for the year. And he was going to be the answer to a trivia question. Remember when Philadelphia had those 4 aces, Hamels and Halladay and Oswalt?
Who was the 5th starter?
Yeah. This ball on the ground to Ryan Howard. 2-0 Colorado as we go to the 7th. This week, Rockies All Access takes a look back at the greatest collection of sluggers in team history, the Blake Street Bombers. Find out what they're up to now and get exclusive interviews and batting tips from Dante Bichette and Larry Walker. That's Rockies All Access. It premieres Thursday at 5 before the Rockies and Washington Nationals game. Well, the lone bomber tonight is Seth Smith. He had a 2-run home run in the second, and Yoli Chacin has made it stand up. Hunter Pence, Raul Ibanez, and Placido Polanco in the 7th inning to face Chacin.
Oswald tonight 6 innings for Scranton Wilkes-Barre. 7 hits, 2 runs, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts in a rehab start.
And I think really the only thing that Ruben Amaro Jr. and Charlie Manuel care about, and Rich Doobie, was he healthy?
Absolutely. Come out of it unscathed, and you pitch count, and how far did you get? Well, that's right off the end of the bat and out into no man's land.
Yeah. That's a broken bat base hit for Hunter Pence, in which he was fooled, but it ends up working out for Pence. So a leadoff single. First time the leadoff man has been on in the ball game for the Phils. CenturyLink high-speed pitch. Hamels 94, Chacin 94. Well, Ibanez has walked and hit a ground ball to second. He does not run well, so get him to hit a ground ball here. Chance for 2. It's at the bottom of the zone, 0-1.
Yeah, keep working down there. That's what you want. That's how you'll get that ground ball double play.
Fade and sink on the fastball.
This ball's well hit to center field, and Dexter is going to watch it short hop the wall. And coming around third to score is Pence. High throw backed up by Chacin. So Raul Ibanez, the hitting star yesterday for Philadelphia, has just doubled to make it a 1-run game. And he's in scoring position with nobody out in the 7th. That was an interesting deal by Dexter. It looked like he got there, and then you thought, well, he stopped. It's going to be a home run.
I wonder if he lost it. How could you lose it, though? I mean, it doesn't make any sense that he would have lost this ball, but he's back on a dead sprint, and then all of a sudden just kind of goes into coast mode like he thought it was going into the seats. See, look, he's looking at the fly to the ball. That ball's in the seats. Hey, wait a minute. No, it's not.
Jeff, you're outside more than we are. Is it possible he lost that somewhere? Because there's a very strange reaction.
Yeah, kind of looked like he did. I mean, from my angle with the lights, it doesn't look like it would have been a problem.
Well, now this is where you'll see this Philly ball club put in professional at bats. In other words, Polanco's going to try to push this thing to the right side, advance the runner over to third, and then let Ruiz try to drive him in with a fly ball.
This is right up his alley.
No,
this is a 2-hole spot type at bat.
If Charlie Manuel could have put anybody up in this situation, this is the guy he would want.
Yep. 1-1.
Now, if it's hit quickly to Ty Wigington at first, I just saw him motion to Chris Nelson over to third. If it's hit hard, be ready for me because I might come your way.
Well, a lot like Todd Helton, got a strong arm. He's the left side of the infield player at third base. He can make a strong throw.
And you got a below average runner at second. Back up the middle. Tulo's got it. He's going to hold the runner, and he gets Polanco. That's a big out without advancement on the bases.
Got him to lean out on an off-speed pitch and hit it off the end of the bat. That's what saved this play. And, of course, the positioning of Tulowitzki to be up the middle. Catch the baseball. See Tulo 2 steps, caught that ball, that soft line drive, and then went to first base with it.
Matt Reynolds tossing. Jim Wright looking on. 1 out. 2-1 Colorado. Carlos Ruiz at the plate.
Yeah, the right-hander stoops up. I guess if he could get loose quick enough. Charlie would go after 6 innings. He's talking to Rich Doobie. He's talking to Pete McKinnon, his bench coach, about who they might go to pinch hit here.
Well, I'm looking down in the dugout. It looks like Ross Glode has a bat.
Yeah, I'm sure that's why Jim Tracy's got the left-hander going down in the Rockies bullpen too.
Popped up and playable. Chacin saying he has it, and he's going to grab it. George, I know that's illegal in baseball, but I think that's the guy who's got to catch that
ball.
Well,
long run for everybody. For a catcher, as soon as you see a ball go in the air, what do? They throw the mask and think it's behind them, so then they got to regroup, come out to catch the baseball. So the easiest guy to come get this thing, because he never took his eye off, he's pointing, he's letting them know where it is, yelling. Iannetta comes out and he's, you know what, I got it. Let me take this.
It's going to be Ross Glode pinch hitting. This is the #1 pinch hitter for Charlie Manuel. He's made a career out of doing this. East Hampton, Long Island native. And I also like what Jim Tracy's doing here in allowing Chacin to pitch to him. I assume he is. He may be, taking his time so he can bring in Matt Reynolds. Chacin at 92 pitches. So here we go. 2 outs. Glode, the pinch hitter for Hamels. I think, Jeff, sometimes you go with your gut, and Chacin, he likes to finish as much of what he starts as he can. He's got that mentality, and he's in a good place.
Well, I think he's earned that tonight, because he has been able to get out of a couple jams when he's walked a guy, get the double play. Let him finish it.
Well, all this started for him when he won 18 ball games between Nashville and Modesto a couple of years ago. He is an innings eater. No question about it, and he doesn't back down from challenges. So this is your guy. Let him go out and face it and see if he can get out of it.
Well, like you said earlier, George, the batting average against goes way down. Overall, it's just at a 204 going into the game. He's got the stuff. I know that Ross Glode, one of the best, but this is what makes baseball fun.
Beat him with that fastball in on his knuckles. It's 1-2.
Now, Ross Glode, one of those guys, used to be with the Rockies. Well, here's that bat against what Jeff's talking about. Cueto at 197, and Jhoulys Chacin second in the National League. 2 guys. Cole Hamels was the other starter tonight.
Glode 14 for 52 off the bench this year. 1-2. And a ground ball toward Mark Ellis. And he makes the play. Well done. Chacin does give up a run. Single by Pence, double by Ibanez. But it's 2-1 Colorado. Middle of 7 at Coors Field. Time for the Cooney Lexus look back. In the second inning, Ty Wigginton aboard, and a home run from Seth Smith. Straightaway center field. His first matchup ever with Cole Hamels. Chacin cruising along. He gave up a bloop single to Pence, and then this double off the bat of Raul Ibanez. Looked like Dexter Fowler may have lost that baseball. In the sky, the early evening sky, and that produced the only run for Philadelphia. And a nice job of pitching after that. Nobody out, a runner on second base, and Chacin got the next 3. New pitcher is Michael Stutz.
Now the right-hander making his 38th appearance. He's done a nice job for them. Just 25 hits and 37 2/3. Out of 37 appearances so far, 78.3 are scoreless. You like that coming out of the pen, don't you, Jeff?
That's what you want as a manager when you call to that guy down there. The consistency. I know what I'm going to get from him.
11th round draft pick by the Phillies. Another one.
1-0 on Iannetta. He's averaging better than a strikeout an inning also, which
Santa Clara University is where he graduated, where he's last drafted.
So, you know, that West Coast conference, that's a good baseball conference. This ball's clubbed to left center field. Long run for Victorino. How about in that run? Just over the wall. Chris Iannetta has hit his 11th, and the Rockies have that run back. That thing stayed hit for a while. Just a line drive, Jeff Houston. They wouldn't quit.
It was just like a drive on the driving range where it just stays low and then just climbs and climbs and gets out. And that hit hard on those seats that are right behind the wall. I mean, that thing was just like it was shot out of a cannon.
Yeah, you know it's hit hard when all the ushers run over to check with the fan that he's okay when he caught it, because that's how hard this ball was hit.
Yeah, from 420 feet away or however far it went.
It's been a while since he's had that soft jog, and it's nice to see it.
Man, was that hammered. 0-2 on Chacin. It bounces up there.
Did that get to Anti-Sogner? They got a whole bunch of people. Do you realize this guy out on the road, how impressive he had been until that pitch to Chris Iannetta? Out on the road, 3-0, 188, with 15 road games.
And that was Iannetta's first hit against the Phillies this year. He was 0 for 10. One out, 3-1 Colorado. And Eric Young will come up. Chris Iannetta with his first home run since June 26th. Earlier, Smith hit his first home run since June 21st. Rockies didn't hit many home runs in July. They hit 3 on that last road trip. Tulowitzki had 2 of them, and then Eliezer Alfonso hit 1. Here's Eric Young Jr. Tell you how much of a drought it was. You know, July is usually when the Rockies break out, score a lot of runs, hit a lot of big flies. 16 home runs, tied for the second fewest home runs in a month in Rockies history. And the other 2 months, the other 3 months on that graphic are April. And Jeff, you understand that. Cold weather, ball not traveling real well. This is an easy play for Ruiz.
Yeah, but especially some of the places they were in July. Washington, it was pretty warm. Atlanta, it was warm. I know Atlanta's pitching staff might have something to do with that, but then you come home for 8 days before you go back out on the road. So that it is pretty shocking, that number of 16.
Well, it's now August. Hopefully the Rockies can have a huge August offensively. They're up 3-1, 2 outs, Fowler at the plate. Dexter's 0 for 2 and a walk. Rockies had 2 on with 2 outs in the 4th inning, didn't score. And then the bases loaded 1 out in the 5th inning. And Ellis struck out, and then Tulowitzki, after fouling several pitches off, struck out on a 3-2 pitch. Jim Tracy has seen so many of these games this year. We pay so much attention to one-run games. I was looking at some teams, some of the elite teams this year in baseball in one-run games, and a lot of the teams are around 500. Phillies are, one of those teams. Boston. The difference is they win a lot more games comfortably than the teams that are in the middle of the pack. Well, the Giants are the Giants are the one exception to that rule. They have won a ton of one-run games. They're just conditioned to play those with their pitching staff, their kind of mediocre offense, and the ballpark they play in, AT&T.
Well, it's just in the Bay Area, and it was interesting to note that there was a lot of excuse-making going on by the Giants in the respect that they felt like Aubrey Huff's down year was because he played all the way into November. His body can't handle everything. I thought, what, are you kidding me? You're in a World Series. You got December, January, February off before you got to start a season. My point, I guess, in all this is that they're saying a lot of their veteran guys had not played that many games or that deep into seasons. They felt that's the reason for a lot of injuries. Yet their pitching staff, all their starters, threw more innings than they've ever thrown in their careers. And here they are leading the league in pitching and saves and doing all the things that they normally do.
So which is it, huh, George?
I just think pitching's great and you're having a bad year.
There you go.
That's what I think.
Sometimes we don't have to affix a reason. It just is. Mark Ellis. Pop out, a ground out, and a punch out. See if Dexter looks to take off early in this situation with Michael Stutz on the mound.
Pretty good lead from Dexter.
August 21st is Faith Day, presented by Golden Spoon Frozen Yogurt. Fans at the game will receive a free frozen yogurt card valid at any of their 5 locations.
Show you the graphic on who's leading in one-run games. And it's interesting, some of the teams not on the graphic. The Giants we talked about. Milwaukee's 10 over in one-run games. Runner going, and the throw to second is going to get fouled. Well, the teams not on that graphic, Boston and New York, 2 of the best teams in baseball. Texas not on that graphic. 13 games over 500. Chris Iannetta has hit a home run, his 11th. It's 3-1 Colorado.
Right now, Colorado with a 3-1 lead over Philadelphia as we make our way to the top of the 8th inning. I'm here with Dan Savageau and his daughter, Emily. And Dan, I noticed that your Ubaldo Jimenez jersey, it looks a little different than most. What's going on with that?
I decided to update it since he's not with us anymore. So my Indian logo got rained on for the beginning of the game. So
now you're a longtime Colorado Rockies season ticket holder. You're at a lot of games. In fact, Emily is going to her 400th game on Saturday against the Nationals. A weird weekend for the fans with the trade.
Yeah, it was. They're always going to be traded, and it's just hard to see him go, especially somebody like Ubaldo that's done so much for the Rockies as he has.
You can understand, though, it's a business, and you're still a Rockies fan, right? You're going to be here on Saturday, Emily?
Yep.
All right, well, I know you guys are still going to support the team. It is strange to see him go. I just had to laugh about your jersey. An interesting one, Dan. Have a good time.
No problem.
All right, guys, back upstairs.
All right, Alana. Dexter Fowler catches that drive by Jimmy Rollins. 1 out in the 8th inning. It'll bring up Shane Victorino. New left fielder Ryan Spilborg's in the ball game for Eric Young. Victorino 0 for 3. And a ground ball deep in the hole. It's going to squeeze through. And a base hit for Victorino in front of Chase Utley. Sixth hit for Philadelphia tonight. See if Jim Tracy comes out and brings in the left-hander with 2 lefties coming up. And here he comes. You have Utley and Howard coming. And it'll be Matt Reynolds' time when we come back. Terrific outing for number 45. Chacín will hear it from the crowd. Standing O as he walks off. Brought to you by Ecotech Institute in Denver, where you can make the world your workplace. Rockies got a 2-run home run in the 2nd from Seth Smith, a solo shot in the 7th from Chris Iannetta. And the real story of this game, how Jolie Chacín has shut down one of the most potent lineups in the National League, certainly in the Philadelphia Phillies. So after 7 1/3, Chacín will give way with 1 out and 1 on to Matt Reynolds. Here are the numbers on Reynolds. The opposition hitting .229. Lefties actually hitting a little better than righties. A pitch off the plate. Lefties hitting .257. Righties .197 against Reynolds. Tough out in Utley. And this is a lob shot that's going to drop.
Well, an elevated fastball, too, and it's only such a good hitter. He's not really in a crouch. He's not upright, but he's able to fight off a lot of things, and then he fought this off. So that's a fastball running, tailing back in onto his hands. I mean, it's just a blue fly ball out into left field. These Phillies fans getting a little excited with 2 men on and Ryan Howard coming to the plate.
It's been a little bit of Matt's problem lately, is that fastball not hitting his spot, and then the break-in pitch at times hanging.
Ryan Howard, 21 home runs, 81 RBIs. Second in the league in ribbies. And he takes a strike.
Where he has been so good, speaking of Matt Reynolds, has been that soft breaking ball away and a very good command of a fastball. And it's just locked up a lot of big left-handed power hitters by having the ability to go out and throw that pitch after showing the good breaking ball down and away.
No swing. C.B. Buckner says nope. Good call. 1-1 on the 2006 National League MVP, Ryan Howard. 5 straight years for Howard of at least 30 home runs and at least 100 RBIs. He's on that pace again this year. Here's the 1-1. Right there, it's 1-2.
That's the fastball talking about that pitch on the outside half of the plate, because as a hitter, you have a tendency to freeze on that pitch, and they call it a freeze fastball because you start your hands and you're thinking, all right, ball's away slider, early recognition, and it stays straight and paints that corner.
1-2. And a slowly hit ground ball. Ellis has just one play, and that's to first. And now the tying runs are in scoring position, or the tying run, I should say, is in scoring position. With Utley now at second, 2 outs, and Hunter Pence coming up. And that'll be all for Matt Reynolds. Rafael Betancourt will be summoned from the bullpen. With 2 outs, Rockies ahead 3-1 in the 8th. Runners at second and third. Windshield damage, call Safelite Auto Glass, 303-287-5000, online at safelight.com. Well, with the trade of Ubaldo Jimenez to Cleveland, of course, Jorge De La Rosa not available until well into next year. Juan Nicasio and Yoeli Chacín, perhaps the new face of the Rockies rotation. Nicasio was marvelous yesterday in San Diego. Unfortunately, got a no decision in what turned into an 8-3 loss. And tonight, Yuli Chassin, George, was terrific.
As dominant as Nicasio was punching people out, he was as dominant with that ground ball out. Really prevented a lot. Well, here you go. Rafael Betancourt with the game on the line in the 8th inning. With runners second and third, making his 48th appearance, 42nd inning, 42 innings he's thrown in the year, 41 hits given up with 48 strikeouts. The inherited runners, big numbers here for what you look for, and that's something he has been able to do. 9 of 33 has scored, 73% success rate, almost 70% retired first batters faced. He needs to do that with Pence here. I think there'd be a lot of history.
Just one at bat.
Yeah, I was going to say I didn't think there would be many. And it was a punch out, fly ball, ground ball. He was out.
He was out. 0 for 1.
That's it. We don't care. He was out. Like to see it again here.
That would work. Anyway.
Hunter, repeat yourself here.
So Betancourt is ready. Now he steps off the back and he wants Chris Iannetta. Huge crowd tonight, especially considering it's a Monday night.
A lot of Phillies fans here that live in this area. A lot of Philly fans. Gary Matthews told me, better known as Sarge, said a lot of them were coming out here to watch because it's a beautiful ballpark, great area to have a little short vacation in, midweek, planned it in advance, and the two teams have played in the playoffs the last couple of years. They wanted to watch the matchup.
Yeah, nice little history, and I'm sure doing it earlier in the year, you figured this was going to be an enormous series. Unfortunately, the Rockies, as that swung on a miss, haven't held up their end of the bargain. But just under 40,000 tonight at Coors Field, 39,330. 0-1 on Hunter Pence. Single last inning. He has scored the only run tonight for Philadelphia. It just missed. He went slider. It's 1-1. You see Betancourt utilizing that slider, Jeff, more and more.
He has to, because the fastball away was, everybody was sitting on that, so you need to show him something else, and he's been able to do that lately. That's why the last 7 or 8 appearances have been really, really good for Rafael.
Swung on and missed. It's 1-2.
Well, trying to do too much, what it looks like to me. This fastball just got by Pence, but he looks like Babe Ruth trying to hit the ball a country mile instead of just solid contact here. And a base hit would give his club the tie to score, but Betancourt's taking advantage of that aggressiveness with an elevated fastball, and he's not catching up to it.
George, couldn't agree with you more. It looks like he's trying to give the Phillies the lead instead of trying to get it even.
You have to go back up there again, wouldn't you, George?
I would think so.
1-2. Fouled off, out of play. Betancourt uses a bat with a big knob, shortens up about an inch and a half. Outfield straight up for Pence. Victorino at third, Utley at second. Rockies up 3-1, 2 outs in the 8th. Here's another 1-2. And another foul ball to the upper deck. Betancourt has not given up an earned run in his last 9 outings.
I like this. Timeout. Let's make sure we're on the same page of where we want to be here with a game on the line. Make the pitch. and trust what I'm giving you. You know, and then as a catcher, you go out and you say, all right, what do you got? And you said, I don't want to go slider here. I'm not comfortable with it. Then you go with the pitch he wants. It may not be the perfect pitch right now, but in his heart, if that pitcher believes it's the pitch, then that's the pitch you got to go with. Win or lose the ball game.
A ball and 2 strikes on Hunter Pence.
Elevated again, wasn't it, Jeff?
Yeah, the only thing I didn't like about that last sequence, I understand what you're saying, George, but then when Chris didn't flash down a sign as an infielder, I want to know what's coming.
Absolutely, don't you?
Yeah, and Chris didn't throw down a sign. That's the only thing I didn't like about that whole thing. I like being on the same page, but the infielders need to be on that page with you.
Utley at second represents the tying run. He went slider away. 2-2.
Good hitters
did not bite.
Good hitters won't chase a slider that's that bad. This won't. A lot of them aren't going to do it because it adds its down tilt versus side tilt. A ball running away from a hitter, sometimes they'll chase that pitch, but when it starts low, stays low, and ends up in the dirt, typical good hitter, they won't chase a pitch like that.
It doesn't even look like a strike coming out of the hand.
Two and two. Iannetta sets up away. He's got it. Rafael Betancourt punches out the newest fill. Hunter Pence with 2 in scoring position. 3-1 Colorado as we go to the bottom of the 8th and 20th at Blake. And the Rockies, Rafael Betancourt punches out Hunter Pence, and it remains 3-1. Who Wants Tacos fans, if you'd like to receive text message alerts when the Rockies score 7 or more for the Rockies Taco Special, text the keyword taco to 720-720. Mark Ellis resumes his at bat. He was at the plate when Dexter Fowler was cut down trying to steal. Second inning of work for Michael Stutz. Ellis, Tulowitzki, and Wigginton. 3-1 Rockies. Fastball at 93 misses. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Good arm. He's flashed 94 with some sink and a hard slider. Follow the Rockies with MLB.com at @BAT11 app, featuring highlights and more. Text @BAT to 31826.
High fly ball to medium range left field. And Ibanez has it. Tulowitzki tonight. A couple ground balls to Jimmy Rollins. And also a strikeout with the bases loaded in the 5th inning. In the 9th inning, Houston Street will see Ibanez, Polanco, and Ruiz. Something interesting about Troy this year. He's hitting .282 Huey at home with 11 home runs. He's hitting actually .296 out on the road with 9 of his 20 home runs.
Well, it helps after that last road trip that he just came off of. 5-game hitting streak, hit .500. Couple home runs. In a place also that he typically has not hit well. That was down in Arizona this year.
Yeah, that doesn't make a lot of sense. Good hitters park.
Right.
Tulowitzki's never swung the bat well there. 1-1. 2 balls and a strike. Off the corner, 3-1. Rockies played a mini 2-game set in Philadelphia back in mid-May. They lost 2-1 and won 7-1. The ball game Chacin started.
It was also the game that Jason had 3 home runs.
7 RBIs, 3 home runs, and he hit some balls that I was like, oh, are they going to stay in the yard?
They almost did.
It was crazy.
Well, in the rain, too.
Three and 2 on Tulowitzki. Breaking ball a little bit high. That's where he tossed the bat and quickly go to first. That was a borderline breaking ball. So Troy at first and Wigginton 2 for 3. Or it was right across the belt line. Chacin thought he struck out Utley on that same pitch early in the ball game.
That's why they both walked.
Ball 1. See if Troy looks to swipe a bag.
He's been a little bit more aggressive the last week or so with that quad feeling better.
Two and 0. Hits are all even at 7. And the Chase a line drive to center field. It's not going to get down, though. Victorino makes a catch. Just allowed out for Ty Wigginton. 2 gone, and that'll bring up Chris Nelson. Nelson 1 for 3. Victorino is playing fairly shallow. He just moved back, Jeff, about 4 or 5 steps. We know Chris got a little pop in that bat.
Yeah, well, he had to move back, too, because this is a place where you really don't want to give up a double and allow Troy to score from first base to tack on an extra run.
It's not the time of the evening that you play shallow, is it?
No. The point in the game will dictate when you can and when you can't.
Well, Raul Ibanez 1 for 2 lifetime against Houston Street. Polanco 1 for 3. Carlos Ruiz. Oh, that's what they've done tonight. Excuse me. 4 for 18. 3 for 9, and Ruiz has never faced him. This might be a point where Tulowitzki takes off.
Well, the best part is you don't lose anything by it. I mean, if he's out, he's out. You come in and try to win the ball game. You got a 2-run lead. If, and it's a big if, you know, if he's safe, and then all of a sudden it's great because now Chris Nelson base hit, run scores, you expand it a little bit more.
He was not going, and it misses, George. 2-2.
You know, I was looking through the Phillies media guide and to look back through their minor leagues and the development of some of this pitching and some of the players that they have. Ryan Sandberg's went back to their organization as a manager this year, former Philly. Mark Parrott, former catcher, is a Double-A manager. Bob Malachy is a pitching coach there. You've got some guys down below, a lot of guys that have been there for a long time. Sandberg, a teammate of mine with the Chicago Cubs in '84. The Cubs, when they hired Quaddy this year, I mean, Ryan did everything they asked him to go do. He went to A-ball, he won. He went to Double-A, won. He went to Triple-A, won. Went through the interview process. They didn't hire him. And he said, you know what? See you later. I put in 4 years with you. It didn't happen. I'm going back to my original ball club. And not that it would happen here. Pete McCannon has always been a big favorite, bench coach. Charlie Manuel loves managing. He ain't going anywhere. But he felt like his time in the Cub organization, I'm out. And that could change.
Tulo will be off with a pitch. 3-2 on Nelson. Yeah, Charlie Manuel, one of the colorful characters we have in the game of baseball.
West Virginia guy.
Yeah.
Always fun.
67 years old.
He's sly as a fox, though. Don't let that folksy humor fool you.
Oh, he knows what he's doing.
This ball's well hit to right. Hunter Pence on the move to make the catch. So we go to the 9th inning. The Rockies 3 and the Phils 1. Houston Street will try to close it out when we return. Brought to you by Southwest Airlines. New Rapid Rewards, unlimited reward seats and no blackout dates. By Berkanier for all your plumbing, heating, and cooling needs. Call Berkanier at 303-777-3037. Think green, think Berkanier. And by Pepsi Max. Go to the 2012 springbaseball.com for a chance to win a trip for you and 9 friends. Back inside Coors Field, Chris Iannetta getting a high five. He had a home run to expand the Rockies' lead from 2-1 to 3-1. A couple innings back. And now in the top of the 9th inning, Houston Street looking for 3 more outs before we flip it to center field to Tom Helmer. Tom?
Drew, going with the Star Wars theme tonight. We're going to talk about the Seth Star. Seth Smith with a 2-run homer in the 2nd inning. His first since June. We'll also talk about the Jedi. Chris Iannetta with a solo home run tonight. And a new hope, Jhoulys Chacin. Great performance tonight. Is he the new ace? We'll discuss that more. It's all coming up on the Toyota Postgame Show. Drew?
Well, he pitched like one tonight, Tom. He was terrific. He's in line to get the win against a guy that doesn't get too many losses, Cole Hamels. So Houston Street is aboard, 28 out of 30 this year. That's outstanding.
See the number of innings pitched. You see the ERA, everything good, but that save Drew's talking about, 28 of 30, pretty special. 9 home runs given up, but has walked just 7 in 47 innings.
The only thing that Houston would like back, you don't want to kick any saves, but the reality is you're going to on occasion, is he's given up a career high 9 home runs.
Absolutely. That's the one thing that jumps out at you when you look at his numbers for the year. Other than that, a very good year for Houston Street.
And strike one on Raul Ibanez. He has driven in the only run tonight for Philadelphia, an RBI double in the 7th. He drove in 4 yesterday. And this is fouled back. It's 0-2.
Well, how about the job Betancourt did, 2nd and 3rd? Got a big strikeout of Hunter Pence to end the 8th inning to give this chance to the Rockies to win this ball game. Nice job by Betancourt and by Reynolds, actually.
Well, guys, the last few weeks, Raphael, after a rough spell, is throwing the baseball like we've seen him when he's special. Changeup, strike 3, swinging, and Ibanez is the first out in the 9th.
Putting a pitch where you want to on a great location, and that's exactly what Street did. It was a late fade sink changeup away from him, but look how far out on the front foot that Ibanez is. That was the out.
It was change, fastball, change.
Now Polanco's 1 for 3.
People will ask you, why is Houston Street, when he's 89 to 91, so effective? He pounds the strike zone.
Well, he stays out of the middle of the plate the vast majority of the time. That's at the knees, 1-1. And then, George, we've discussed this before. He is a bit unusual in that he's a 3-pitch closer. Most closers are 2-pitch guys, and really it's 1.5 pitches.
Yeah, well, a lot of guys, power guys, or they have a nasty slider like a Lidge that goes to his slider so much, but he's also somebody through 96. Houston Street utilizes the bottom half of the zone, and he does it to both sides, and he does it with 3 pitches. He's thinking man's closer. Not scared of the situation. He may not always succeed, but he's not scared of it.
1-2 on Polanco. Good pitch, well located. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Colorado Rockies and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Colorado Rockies. Houston Street taking his time. He wants to make sure Wigginton has his breath. Now he's ready to go. 1-2 again on Polanco. Just missed.
Well, he hit the target. It is a ball. It is off the plate. He threw it where he wanted to throw it. He hoped to get a chase. Well, the pitch is off the plate. But what you had hoped you get is that Polanco would go. See, he almost offered at it. You'd hope he'd go out and try to take a swing at it. You'd win the battle.
They're going to go out there again. That was a miss, but it's going to be a fly ball to center field for out number 2. Jeff, that's why hitting's so hard. Pitcher misses his location. That worked back to the middle of the plate, but it's still tough.
Yeah, and that's what, you get away with the mistake every once in a while. Blanco, I'm sure, was looking out away again because that's where they went. Maybe a slider, and he got jammed. He jammed himself.
I was born and raised in Philly, but a Rockies fan. 2 outs, Carlos Ruiz. 1-0. This is game number 11 of 20 straight for Philadelphia. For the Rockies, this is game number 4 in the midst of 20 straight. Ruiz down the third base line. Spilborghs will throw it in, but Ruiz slides in with a 2-out double.
Second double of the night for Ruiz. The other one right center field, and John Mabry will come on to hit. That ball, another mislocation. A running fastball didn't sink, stayed up. Pitch hitting this year, John Mabry's had some success, a couple of RBIs and 5 for 20.
He's a kid they like a lot. He's the son of John Mayberry, who hit a whole lot of home runs in his big league career. Two outs and Mayberry pinch hitting.
First round draft pick by the Phillies out of Stanford. He didn't get the smarts from Dad. He was a teammate. I had to throw it in there. Sorry, Big John, if you're listening at home. Phillies tonight have struggled with runners in scoring position. They're 0 for 8.
And that slider's out all away from the outside corner, so it's 1-0 on Mayberry. They believe one day their corner outfielders will be Mayberry and Dominic Brown. Dominic Brown's back down in AAA. Here's the 1-0. Slider, and it's 1-1.
A swing to tie it up, too. 6 home runs for John Mayberry. Again, that's good hard slider down and away. Perfect location for Houston Street.
Check swing, foul ball, 1-2. Hey Jeff, put yourself in Mayberry's shoes for a moment. I know you were a left-handed hitter, but philosophically, representing the tying run, you got to look away. There's no way they'd come in.
They're not going to beat you or let you beat them inside by hitting a home run. If you're going to do it, it's going to have to be the other way. So you have to look away if you're Mayberry.
Rockies up 3-1. 2 outs in the ninth. 1-2 on John Mayberry. Wow, he almost bit. And as George Frazier described a moment ago on the pitch to Polanco, that was exactly where Street wanted it, off the plate.
Off the plate and down. You're not playing into his power. He's looking to pull something. He's not going to hit it out into right center or right field. He's looking middle half in that he can jerk a baseball.
Ruiz doubled with 2 outs. He's at second. The 2-2. One out there again, and it's full with Jimmy Rollins on deck. Street has said on many occasions in these situations, all he focuses on, I think the good ones are the same, he focuses on this pitch and executing it.
Yeah, that's what you have to do as a closer. And that's what I meant by a thinking man's guy. I mean, you know, again, Chris Iannetta's got to remember this last conversation. He went out and talked to Betancourt. The results were a strikeout were pretty good. You hope for that same type of result too. He just wants to make sure Houston's on the same page. A lot of times with a guy on second, you go out and talk to a pitcher. Sometimes you'll use touches like shoulders, shin guards, or you just give a straight dummy sign down. But it's tough to do that with your middle infield not knowing what's coming.
3-2. Popped up, and it's going to drift out of play right over the Rockies dugout, about 5-6 rows. Last 4 pitches, all sliders away.
Well, just from John's setup, looks like he has trouble with that ball down. That back leg can't quite get down into the zone low enough.
Tall guy. I think that's part of it.
I mean, even hitting out of a little bit of a crouch.
(3-2), and it's a high fly ball foul. And well into the seats. Another 3-2. High fly ball, deep left field. Mayberry has tied this baseball game up. And for Houston Street, I'm sure this conjures up memories of the postseason of '09 against the Phils.
Well, and home runs allowed in reliefs. That's Street's 10th. I know he's wearing that on his sleeve right now. I think also he's wearing it on his sleeve that the last thing he wanted to do is allow a ball to get out over the plate to where Mayberry could extend his arms, and he extended it about 25 rows up.
2 outs, Jimmy Rollins. Street struck out of Banez, got a lazy fly ball from Polanco, 2 relatively quick outs, and then Ruiz a double down the third base line. He got ahead of Mayberry, 1 and 2. Mayberry would not bite at the sliders just off the plate. He got one out over the plate, and he yanked it into the seats. It's a 3-3 ball game. And now the 1-1 to Rollins. And he hits it well to right center field. Dexter will catch it right at the wall. 400 plus feet from home plate. So it's 3-3 as we go to the bottom of the 9th inning. The Rockies will have Seth Smith to begin things. They were one strike away. And just as Juan Nicasio got an attaboy yesterday, Jolie Chassin will get an attaboy tonight. Wonderful performance, but it won't result in a W because John Mayberry hit a pinch hit 2-run home run on a 3-2 delivery to tie it. But the Rockies can have the last bit of drama. Antonio Bastardo is on. He's been outstanding this year. The opposition hitting just 113 against him. Seth Smith, Chris Iannetta. And then we will see a pinch hitter.
The strikeouts, 48 and 40 in the third innings. He keeps the ball in the ballpark, just 2 home runs in those 40 in the third innings. Making his 45th appearance, and no big innings, really. I mean, you know, 77% of the time you get the first batter out. It limits the opposition from what they might do, and the opponents. Are you kidding me? 113 batting average against. Wow.
Rockies need just one.
What he's trying to do by bringing him into the ball game, not only is he good, obviously. Smith's left-handed, Iannetta. Then you're either going to see Helton, or you could possibly see Stewart, because now you're down to the other. Herrera's the other guy. Somebody will pinch hit here in the bottom of the ninth. The Rockies are able to keep this game going, or will keep going, I should say. Don't win it here. Rex Brothers would be the pitcher in the 10th.
On Smith. He hit a 2-run home run left on left back in the second inning. A couple of ground balls, one sharply hit to Ryan Howard since then. Here's the 1-0. Off the plate, 2-0. Three balls and a strike. Rockies have only one regulation walk-off win this year. That was a couple of weeks ago when Carlos Gonzalez delivered a game winner in the 9th. And this is a flare that may drop, and it will. So Seth Smith, the winning run aboard, leading off the bottom of the 9th.
Flare right off the end of the bat on a breaking ball down and away from Smitty. And stayed back. I mean, literally off the end of the bat. That was out of the zone, but it does get the inning started for you.
Well, Ibanez had been playing back a little bit further. He didn't want the double hit over his head, but now 2 hits on the night, including the home run from Smith against the left-handers.
And this is, Jeff, you know, every batting practice, everybody bunts a couple before they take swings, and they work the ball from the opposite field in the first couple rounds around is hitting it hard where it's pitched. Chris Iannetta, you'd assume, is going to bunt here. You just have to. And that's where, again, something he doesn't do a lot, but you have to execute.
You know what, though? But watching him do it in batting practice is a little bit different than some of the other guys, and he takes it pretty serious. Where he's hitting in the lineup, he has to do that, because a lot of times late in the game, if he's going to be asked to bunt, he knows that there's a pinch hitter on deck.
He has 1 sack bunt this year. This is game number 109. One ball, one strike. Perfect bunt. So Chris Iannetta does the job. Seth Smith is at second base, representing the winning run. And Johnny Herrera will pinch hit. In the 9 spot. Now defensively, Jeff, in the outfield, Smith underway runs a little better than average. So the outfield's got to suck in just a little bit. Now Johnny, anyhow, is not typically going to hit the ball over your head.
Yeah, so that plays into the hands of the Philadelphia Phillies just a little bit. But Hunter Pence in right field, it probably has the strongest arm out of anybody. Victorino's pretty good. I would say Ibanez is the worst one out of the group.
So here's Johnny in a 3-3 game, 1 out in the bottom of the 9th. Johnny, who's usually very patient, he got something he liked there and he fired.
A different role.
Yes, it is.
So that's why coming off the bench, you don't have time to look at a bunch of different pitches. You want to look for that first fastball that you see. And that's what he went to swinging at 93 miles an hour.
Smith looking over his shoulder at Rollins, getting help from Richie Dower. High 1-1. So important for him to get that good secondary lead.
Well, also, too, because if a ball's in the dirt and it kicks away far enough from Ruiz, you can take third and score maybe a little closer to home.
In Philadelphia, you'd have to bring everybody in. 1-1. Inside, 2-1. Johnny hitting .274 righty versus .243 from the left side. Smith, a leadoff single to left. Chris Iannetta advanced him on a sacrifice bunt. 2-1 the count on Johnny Herrera, pinch hitting. Spielborg's on deck if necessary. 2-2.
I'm surprised Jonathan didn't call timeout. He had to wait in that box a long time.
When you're in that situation as a hitter, Jeff, what's the one thing that tenses the most? Is it the legs or the hands?
The hands and the arms. You start to grip that bat a little bit tighter, and then it's tough to swing.
Ground ball up the middle. Rollins will get there. He fires just in time to Howard for the second out. Smith crossed over to third, and it'll bring up Ryan Spilborghs.
Ryan Spilborgh's first at bat in the game, not a pinch hitting situation, but Spilly does a pretty good job late in the game pinch hitting. His season obviously has not gone the way he had hoped it would gone. 3 home runs with just 21 RBIs, but hitting just .215. But as a pinch hitter, 6 pinch hit RBIs after the 7th inning in a ball game. That's a pretty good number. Arizona's on top of San Francisco 2-1. It's in the 6th inning.
A big series there as Arizona's within a couple of games of San Francisco. Yeah, Spilborghs, who has handled these situations so very well many times in the past, has an opportunity to win it for the Rockies. And he takes ball 1. Smith less than 90 feet away. 3-3, bottom of 9. And that again misses in. 2-0. Spilborghs entered the game an inning ago defensively for Eric Young. Rockies were ahead 3-1 at the time. Here's the 2-1. Ground ball to short. Rollins has it cleanly and will go extra innings. Tied at 3. We move on to the 10th. Smith left at third. Beef jerky all season long. Jack Link's Beef Jerky. Feed your wild side. Well, the Rockies at Coors Field tonight were one strike away from defeating the Phillies 3-1. Houston Street got the first 2 outs in the 9th. After a double by Carlos Ruiz, he went ahead of the pinch hitter John Mayberry 1-2. Count went to 3-2, and after a couple of foul balls, Mayberry got a slider out over the plate and hit it into the seats in left field to tie it at 3. Rockies had a chance to win it in the bottom of the 9th, couldn't get the key hit. So now we move on. Top of the 10th inning, Rex Brothers, who struggled yesterday for the first time in a while, will face Victorino, Utley, and Howard. Victorino 1 for 4. Rex Brothers walked 2 and gave up a hit, a double in yesterday's affair. An 8th inning for the Rockies. It saw the Padres score 6 times and erase a 3-2 deficit. The Rockies just 1-5 in extra inning ball games, and the Phillies, who are 29 games over 500, they're 5-6, so they're below 500 in extra frames. Look out, Juan Samuel. Well, Juan was quick when he played.
Yeah, quick feet, quick hands. He had to be there.
Third base coach for the Phillies. A long and distinguished career in the big leagues. Many of those years with Philadelphia. Here's the 1-2 on Victorino. Slider misses, 2-2. Off his foot.
I don't.
They call that?
I guess Dan did. I was just looking at Dale Scott down here at the first base side. He never said anything.
Never does. I like Dale. I like giving him a hard time. Go by the umpire's room, visit with him a little bit.
Dale is a good guy.
He's a great guy. Ow, that hurt for him.
Shane Victorino, the flying Hawaiian, and that was a nasty slider, but it was in. 3-2. Well hit to left field. It's going to get out of here. Shane Victorino with his 10th home run, and the Phils lead it 4-3.
And don't let his size fool you. There's a lot of thunder in that lumber when he comes to the plate and you make a mistake on a pitch. Take a look at this location of a fastball that was belt high. Iannetta wanted to crowd him with it inside, and it was left up and out over the plate. You can see their dugout come to their feet. They knew when it left the bat that it had
left the yard. 4-3 Philadelphia. Chase Utley. Growing pains right now for Rex Brothers. Tough outing yesterday. Trying to protect the 1-run lead in the 8th inning. He was trying to keep this game in neutral. And instead he's given up a home run to Victorino. 0-2 on Utley.
And this is where you look at a young kid when he's on the mound. How does he gather himself? How does he handle this situation? Does the dauber go down and you give up multiple hits after that, where you've got to get somebody up in your bullpen, or do you close the inning out, even though you've given up the go-ahead run here in the 10th? The one thing I think that does get exposed, and Rex Brothers has been on a great run, but when you're facing a team of this caliber, Jeff, they don't chase sliders out of the zone very often.
Well, that's why their record is 68-39 coming into tonight. Or if you do make a mistake with the slider, they hit it out like Mayberry did.
That looked like a golfer trying to make sure he made contact with a ball with a buried lie. Did you see that head stay on the baseball, George?
I actually thought it was more of like trying to slice it around a tree when you're behind it. Wham! I'm going to turn and make a hard left out there about 100 yards. Sergio Garcia, wasn't it? The guy behind the tree, and he ran up the fairway. That's a good one.
That's the good slider right there. Utterly gone. 1 out in the 10th inning. They'll bring up Ryan Howard. Howard tonight 0 for 4. Came into this ball game with an 5-game hitting streak at Coors Field, in which he was 10 for his previous 21, including a home run. Chelsea kept him quiet. No hits yet against the Rockies in 2011. That hit the knob of the bat.
Yes, it did.
1-1. In the last 5-6 years, this man has hit more home runs than anybody in baseball, more than the great Albert Pujols. So 06, he's hit 250, and he has more RBIs than anybody in the game. That's a strike. And it's not even close, George. Coming into tonight's ball game, Howard, since the start of 06, 761 RBIs. Pujols, 674. That's a difference of 87 RBIs. And Howard is gone. Running out homer Pujols by 19, 250 to 231. Hunter Pence. He's got, you know what, you don't want to swing the bat. He's got one of the hitting jackets on the bat still. That thing added an extra, probably either 12, depends which one it is, 12 or 16 ounces. That would be real tough to hit a guy throwing 97 with a 47-ounce bat all of a sudden.
I'm just shocked that he went all the way up to home plate with it.
Look at this. I'm watching him. I'm going, what's that on his bat? It's a hitting jacket. It's a great new product. And he's going to, hey, you can take BP with it. I don't suggest hitting the game with it.
That'll be in the paper tomorrow.
Well, he pops it up. Well, the Phils on the Victorino home run, his 10th of the year, have taken a 10th inning 4-3 lead. Dexter Fowler, Mark Ellis, Troy Tulowitzki. On the Victorino home run. And Ryan Matson is aboard to try to close it out for Philadelphia. Root Sports Red Alerts. They'll keep you updated about the latest Rockies happenings this season. Text the word alerts to 720-720 to get Rockies updates straight to your phone. So Matson will face Fowler, Ellis, and Tulowitzki.
Well, a big, tall right-hander, setup man for a while. I mean, they tried a lot of different things with him, and then he really settled into the bullpen role. And when Lidge went down, he became the closer. 18 of 19, as Jeff mentioned earlier. Has a save against Colorado in 2011. He's 5-0 with 2 saves, 2.93 ERA against the Rockies in his career. At Coors Field, 3-0 with 1 save and a 4.22 ERA.
Here's Dexter, and he hits his ball high in the air to deep center field. Victorino, who is playing shallow, able to get back and make the catch.
Jeff, I got a question I want to ask you. As a former minor league coordinator, to where you're in the bench, you're in meetings, you're talking, why would he play shallow now? I mean, it's a 1-1 game. I mean, wouldn't you play about medium depth where you could get back on a ball easier?
Yeah, especially here at Coors Field. Because that's the last thing you want is a ball to go over your head.
Mark Ellis. Rockies on their bench, and right now you're in the middle of the order. Ellis is hitting third tonight because Helton's sitting it out. In the back, bothering Todd tonight. He's available. Stewart's available. I put the available with Todd in quotations. 0-2.
Well, I'm watching Sam Perlazzo looking at Ryan Franklin, and Ryan Howard, and he's trying to get him to move over a little bit. He's trying to get him because of with the velocity, and they're going away from him. You know, so he's trying to maneuver people around and not getting much attention. That can be frustrating.
One and 2 on Ellis. 0 for 4 tonight. You know, you always focus on the 9th inning, and Street gave up a 2-run home run, and that will be the focus if the Rockies lose that and the Rex brothers delivery to Shane Victorino. But remember, the bases loaded and 1 out in the middle innings. This is 1 hopper to Rollins, and there are 2 gone. The Rockies had the bases loaded in the 5th inning. Ellis, with 1 out, struck out on 3 pitches. And then Tulowitzki struck out after a lengthy at bat. But the bottom line is a golden opportunity at the time, Jeff, in a 2-0 game to add on.
And it's a reoccurring theme all year long now in game 109. We've said that numerous times. It's not just the big hit to win the ball game or put you ahead in the 8th inning. That big hit could be the 3rd or 4th inning to expand a lead. And it didn't happen, as you mentioned, with the bases loaded back in the 5th.
Two outs and nobody on in the 10th inning. Tulowitzki at the plate. And now the outfield with their backs against the wall, basically. On the corner, 1-1. The Phillies were evidently trying to work a deal for Heath Bell. That never materialized. Soon they'll still try to pursue some bullpen help here in August. This is a little pop up and an easy play for Chase Utley. And another very, very difficult loss for the Rockies to swallow. Another one emblematic of a season that has turned south The Rockies got another outstanding pitching performance, this time from Jhoulys Chacín. They had a 3-1 lead they could not hold with 2 outs and 2 strikes in the 9th inning. And they lose for the 6th time in 7 games in extra innings. The final score, Philadelphia wins it 4-3. Bastardo gets the win. He's 5-0. Brothers takes the loss. He's 1-2. Madsen is 19th save. Our Jimmy John's delivery of the game. Shane Victorino on a 3-2 pitch. Went yard, his 10th of the year. Jimmy John's, America's favorite sandwich delivery guys. And for the Philadelphia Phillies, they're now 30 games over 500 at 69-39. The Rockies fall to 51-58. First time the Rockies lost this year at Coors Field, leading after 8. Stick around, the postgame show is up next.